living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Presidency is fairly interesting in the sense that it will actually take us to a new consciousness.
Swali zile watu waulizi na swali muuliza na shangala ni aje kwani huku kunaendaje?
30 billion shillings annually on travel alone in public service.
A Kenyan can even demonstrate every single day of his life that Ruto must go. That is the only message of his demonstration. That is his right.
That bribe blinds the eyes of the wise and subverts the cause of those who are in the right.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody's human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, stagi kuongea today. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
We look at the utterances of leaders who are aligned to broad-based, who were initially in ODM. We thought they stand for something. Now they've been exposed.
Because we are a third world country, we are poor. And not because we don't have resources, but we have been robbed senseless.
Look at the wasteful expenditure. Look at how large government lives. And we've said this is something that can be controlled. It happens in many other countries.
Internally, we used to stand and tell him, boss, hii kitu ni mbaya. And you'd say, now he doesn't let me tell you, you saw the other parliamentary group meeting. People went there, sat, listened, looked at him. There was no plenary, left.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
We look at the utterances of leaders who are aligned to broad-based, who were initially in ODM. We thought they stand for something. Now they've been exposed.
Because we are a third world country, we are poor. And not because we don't have resources, but we have been robbed senseless.
Look at the wasteful expenditure. Look at how large government lives. And we've said this is something that can be controlled. It happens in many other countries.
Internally, we used to stand and tell him, boss, hii kitu ni mbaya. And you'd say, now he doesn't let me tell you, you saw the other parliamentary group meeting. People went there, sat, listened, looked at him. There was no plenary, left.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on SpiceFM.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Well, hey, today is that day.
It's the day.
I'm telling you. hey.
Yeah.
It's 16 minutes after 6. I know. I'm very sorry, guys, but you know how when they say the world has come to an end and then people wake up one morning and then they find that the streets have turned to gold and that the moon is red.
The angels are singing.
Bas, that's how it is in this studio this morning, I'm telling you. Things are upside down, left, right, and center. But you know what? We're here, Mama.
We move.
We move regardless. So we're starting things really late this morning. But sorry about that. As we get into things today, the lights might look a little bit darker. But if we can hear and we can try to move our conversations, that we will do as we try to figure things out. EVE is somehow alive and we will move regardless. Mr. Dennis Aseto, good morning.
Morning.
Uko salama?
Salama sana.
Why are you looking different?
Sijakuona since 2025.
Wallahi.
Ballot 2025.
Ballot 2025. Sijui ulikuwa wapi? Chini ya microphone. Yeah.
Pana cheza bana.
Bana. Nilikumiss lakini.
Me too, man.
Karibu sana. You're even looking different.
What do you mean? I just went to my barber's. That's all I did.
No, you're looking different.
What do you mean?
You're fresh like morning wine.
It's good.
It's very good.
Very good.
That morning palm wine.
Just from fermentation.
Must be experienced. I'm telling you. That morning palm wine is not a joke.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, man.
If they knew, the yellow looks really nice.
They'll see.
They'll see. That's just me. Today I'm the one winning.
Asante sana.
Nakula komacho. It's allowed, eh?
Well done. How was your weekend?
Chilling, actually.
Yeah?
Yes.
It was good. I went to dance.
Where?
The Association of Nigerian Women in Kenya turned 25.
You just thought I shouldn't be there, eh?
Association of Nigerian Women.
I shouldn't be there to drive.
No, it's not like, no. You could have even attended. No, you would have even attended the function. It was
as media.
As anybody. I don't even know why I didn't think about it before.
You've got two.
Don't worry, there's another one coming.
When? Next year? December next year.
Speaking of which, it's December 1st.
Yeah.
If it's December 1st.
Hey.
Please, can I tell you again that it's December 1st? Anybody who has not looked at their calendar properly in the last 2 months, exactly 2 months, it is the 1st of December.
And when you talk about 2 months, it's 62 days?
Yes. October, no, actually 61. Because October had 31 days. What did you do in the month of October? November then had 30 days. So when you combine the two, those are 61 days.
Yeah.
And here we are on the 1st of December, and you're still quiet like a church rat.
Imagine.
Are you quiet like a church rat?
Iko shida.
Quiet like a church rat. Not good. Not good. It's not good at all.
No good.
Imagine. Yay! There it is. Hey, if he is here, Joyline is here. We're getting into things this morning. Good morning and welcome. This is the Situation Room. It's Kenya's biggest conversation. And as we get into it, regardless, we move. We'll have these conversations about certain things that need to be talked about. My goodness, I just feel as though my brain is doing a tailspin. My Lord. I was going to say post-election. It actually is post-election.
It is post-election.
The by-elections took place on Thursday last week, and it seems as though worlds have changed since then, and I'm not even trying to be dramatic, but we'll have a conversation around some of these things post the ballot 2025. And mind you, it was just a mini poll, but things have come. People are talking about going to court. Opposition will be in court because, there was bribery and there was this, that, the other thing. So that conversation is already going on, and we're going to be talking about that as we look at post-ballot 2025. We're going to do a recap of that. Kennedy Obuya is the chairman of UDA in Homa Bay. He'll join us this morning with Dr. Peter Mbai, who is the Secretary Planning and Economic Affairs, the DCP party. So what happened? Let's go over that, and we'll do an audit.
Do you think the opposition have a case, though?
Do they have a case? Well, unfortunately,
Just from the face of it.
Well, you know what they say, he who alleges proves. So there's a lot to prove, and you have to have watertight. It can't just be an allegation. It can't be he said, she said. It has to be very clear. And also, I guess the basis is what exactly you're bringing to court to say that certain things happened that shouldn't have happened, and then how the court interprets that. It'll be an interesting couple of days.
True.
And also who you have on your side in terms of legal defense. Very, very important as well in terms of what they're going to be able to prove.
Any judicial matter is all about who argues best.
Absolutely. So it's a wait and see kind of thing. We'll wait and we'll see. But we'll have that conversation at 7 o'clock. And then we'll look into the state of the nation. I know the state of the nation has been looked into, but has it been looked into really what is happening in the state of the nation? You might want to even look at the front page of your Standard, which we'll look into in just a little bit. But Kabando Wakabando is a politician. We'll talk about 2027 high stakes hunt for a deputy president. Many, many things are going on. there's still 1 term, 2 term, I don't know how many terms. All of these conversations are happening at the same time, while the development agenda for the country still needs attention. We'll talk about that at 8 with Kabando. And then at 9 o'clock, we'll have a conversation with Florence Wanja, who is the regional head, East Africa Business and Commercial Banking with Stanbic Bank, making our enterprises thrive. If you sell juice out of your fridge, you have an enterprise. If you sell cosmetics that you've developed in your kitchen, you have an enterprise. If you are that person selling tomatoes, you are an enterprise. How are we making those thrive? Stanbic is talking to us about how that is actually happening in our day and time. So those are the conversations that we have this morning. It's lined up for you as you get into the room. Karibuni sana. Our live streams are up on YouTube, Facebook, and on X. You pardon our technical difficulties this morning. It's being worked on. It'll be sorted out. But already, thank you for joining us in the room today. Our audience on KTN, Karibu as well. As we get into things this morning, thank you for joining us, tuning in around the country, the region, and indeed the world. I don't know where we are this week, but okay.
We're in December, right? Let's just keep on appreciating each and every different country, because it's we get something new from different country every day, right? So today we are in a game reserve in South Africa called Madikwe Game Reserve. And in this game reserve, it talks about a roaring lion. And it says, a roaring lion kills no game.
Shut up and work. Sorry.
There's that. I think there's that song from the UK that keeps on saying, "Shut up,
keep quiet, and get to work." Can't just be opening your mouth.
Thank you.
Close your mouth and do the.
Yes. Tutafanya, tutatenga. Tutaona. Exactly. You can't be making noise every other day and not doing anything. I'm
going to. I'm roaring.
Shut up. Sit down.
See my mane and my hair.
Aish.
And see my teeth.
Kabisa. You remember, it is. Hey, wait. It reminds me of Lion King at that time when Simba was trying to roar.
Yeah.
You know.
It was like a meow. Wait,
your time is coming. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Work. I love that proverb.
Yes.
My goodness.
I think it's timely.
It's very timely.
61 days.
Done. 61 days.
Stop roaring.
In fact.
Yeah.
For now.
Let
me keep quiet and work.
Let's not roll now. Let's work.
Let's work.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a great one. I think a lot can definitely be derived from it. We know that folks are tuned into the room this morning. We never get tired of saying thank you for doing so and joining us in the room every morning as you do. So let's take a minute to say good morning to you, and wherever it is that you're tuning from, tell us your name, where you're tuning in from this morning, night, getting into other parts of the day, depending on where you are. Don Sabwa says, good morning. The Kenyan by-election has laid everything bare. The wind has blown and the hen now stands fully exposed. Ndu, ask your colleague, is it true now that all is bare?
It's a lie.
It's a lie. It's not bare.
Aye, where?
Okay. When wind go blow, foul nyash go open. Foul nyash don't open.
Yeah.
That's all. I have to ask the question. Right? Kiarie says, good morning, tuning from Mombasa. A wise fish should know that a beautiful earthworm that looks so easy to swallow has a sharp hook attached to it.
That should be a proverb tomorrow.
In fact, there it is. Yeah. Please, will you remember it? You'll find it.
Take a screenshot.
Sawabasi. Robert Obogo tuning from Mombasa this morning. Raimtula Omar says, good morning from Preston, UK. The year has gone by so fast. I'm telling you, Raimtula, tell them. Linda Gola, good morning to you. Happy December, folks. Cheers to you, my sister. Karibu Sana. Rose Grace is tuning in this morning from Menara and says, Happy New Month to you, Spice FM team. Thank you so much. Anything lately? Hamjambo wa Kenya wenzangu. Top salams from freezing Shanghai. Oh, good morning to you, Karibu Sana. Leo says, hello, Princess Ndu and Aseto. Good morning to you. If the happenings of yesterday at a PCA church and consequent narrative of what really happened, then Ruto's slogan of Hawana Akili is directed to those close to him. That was unfortunate to see. I'm sorry. This goonism, sorry. People need to be locked in the room and whipped with when. Let me just stop it. But
Omabe, Omabe will show me things, yo.
Where? I tell you.
You know, someone called all his agents and everyone to a room, whipped them proper
because they did
not deliver. Ulikula pesa yangu.
Oh no.
Mbona sikukuwa MP? Kiboko. Now you know that time when you're being told kipewa pesa wewe kula. Wewe kula lakini jua kuna kiboko afterwards.
Waiting for you.
Exactly.
True story. David Mangera says, good morning to you, Indian Team Spice. Happy New Month. It's December 2025. This far, God, Manze. God, I'm telling you, need God, Manze. True. Tuning from Tudo, Mombasa is where Joseph Okondo is. Karibu Sana. Jimmy Munodi says, good morning, Spice family. Here's to a great day and a great show. Kabisa. Let's do it. Let's do it together. Jogomoni says, good morning. Watus, it's the final month of the year. We thank God for the gift of life and for keeping us alive through this regime. Sindio? Okay. Erica Ward says, good morning, guys. Leo says, Princess Undu, yes. That statement by KWS about those confused wildebeests approaching a campsite and they have 68 kilometers to use a migratory path show we are still colonized in the mind and captive to bribes. Absolutely true. And look, it's not political. It's just clear that KWS needs to dance to a different tune. It's not possible that wildebeest, we know that animals that on a migratory path don't forget. There's no way that you'll tell them that, oh, you showed up at the fence. Hello, Wilder. You showed up at the fence. You're not supposed to be here.
Let's follow your beast on the other side.
Yeah. Follow Wilder, follow beast. No. This wildebeest knows where it's supposed to be going. You can't just tell us, oh, you just showed up at the fence of a hotel. Are you kidding?
Tell you what. You see, these wild beasts in that path has existed more than we have existed on the face of the earth.
Exactly.
That means it is a route and an ancestral route for them.
And that KWS doesn't know this is a bit worrying that they're KWS.
Hey.
It's a bit worrying that those are the folks at Kenya Wildlife
Services.
Wildlife Service. If you don't know this, it's a bit worrisome. And of course, the likes of, Mordecai Ogada, of course, come after them and say, come on, guys, you should not be telling us these things. Stop it. Let's behave yourselves. But yeah, there's a thing or two or three to be worried about. Seriously. Aberybeth was good morning. Tune in from Gesha, Kiambu County, waiting for the best show in the country. Kabisa, thank you so much for being here. Tibbs Muge says, good morning. David says, kulikuwa na sherehe in the situation room, mama. Kukitu kama hiyo. Where? Hannington says, good morning. Tuned in. It's December. Imagine it's December. Na bado tuko hapa. Bernard Nyamberi says, good morning. Happy New Month. Tell Deno aendelee na swag ya last week in suits. When you were away? Watu walikuwa na kupip.
Okay.
Kwa nini? Wamesema mimi nilisahau.
Okay.
I'm sorry. They said I should tell you that your suits do something to them.
Okay.
Sasa sijui kama unaweza saidia watu.
Tutaona hiyo maneno. Talk to the powers.
Sindio?
Wardrobe lazima come.
Sindio?
Wardrobe allowance.
So you're speaking to somebody. Don't talk through the corners.
It's the people saying. And
not
the people
you.
have.
The people have. They shall and they have and they must.
They must.
Oh, they will. Yes. All right. My prince, good morning. We are in December. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Already we're having that conversation. It's so interesting how from December 10th in Kenya, things just shut down. Nobody, you can't see anybody. You want to go from Mombasa Road to the city, you do 5 minutes.
You're saying December 10th. SGR is fully booked.
It's bus.
Hey,
They've
people
already
are
left.
moving.
They're moving. I'm telling you. People booked it and it's done. And that's where we are. Rahimsula, thank you so much. Imagine, sometimes I moonlight as a news anchor. Emily Osena says, good morning. New month, new day, sad events of the last week. Indeed. Better guys have peace. Do they? El Mongare says, good morning, Team Spice. Good morning to you. John Burrow is tuned in this morning. Happy new month, new week, last month of the year. Be blessed from Sudan, South Sudan, Juba specifically. Charles Onyango, good morning. Good to see you. People have a happy new month. Karibu. John Gishoki, good morning. Happy new month to you, brother. Hope you're doing well. And Owen Karaoke is tuned in. Wake up and work. Okay, so bus. To me wake up. Baba Three Girls, okay, we see you. Wishing you all a happy festive month. Good morning to you. Good morning from Qatar, says Robert Miner. We love you too. Your frequency is again misbehaving up a Gatundo close, specifically Gatundo close. I don't know EVE, but Siriano Dani is saying Gatundo close specifically. Shida. You know where that is? She's looking for it. From Lanette, this year is down again. Ni. Happy December, says Abel Larry. Gukar says, good morning. Wishing Kenyans happy December. Tune in from Githogore. Red Fiery Red. Good morning, Spice. Happy new month. Kao Nyambura says, good morning. Happy new month. Have a blessed day ahead. And thank you to you too. Jennifer Ateni is also tuned in. Happy new month. It's our month. We December babies. Nyinyi na Aseto. Sindio? Yeah. Tisha hapa. Cole Kipkano is tuned in. Team Spice tuned in from Kericho. High time you invite Dr. Mordecai Ogada for conversation talks. Indeed. Ayenda Derek says good morning. Daniel Charo is tuned in from Doha in Qatar. James Gather said, where? I saw Ndu on KTN Live. I was sat listening. Mimi.
That suit was also giving.
Mimi. Where? Stephen Bogo says good morning, tuned in from Bere. You're saying no, you're not tuned in from Bere. You're saying Bere people good morning. You're greeting people in Bere. Team Spice, good morning. Thank you always for joining us. Karibu Sana. Even those who are listening and not sending in their greetings or whatever, we know that you're tuned in this morning, so great to have you here. Let's have these conversations together, things that are important for us to do. So those places that have technical issues, the lights are not on, it's Monday morning, etc., etc. Somebody, I read something somewhere that said somebody actually needs to sit down and count the actual hours on Saturday if they're 24 and the hours on Sunday if they're 24, because we're being shortchanged.
Because there's someone who usually just makes it easy. Somebody
takes like 3 from Saturday and like 7 from Sunday and tells you it's 24 hours. It's not true.
So from Friday, so it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, it's like Friday. Yeah, exactly.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Monday. Yeah. That's what happens. So those of you who are stealing 10 hours from the weekend, we have our eye on you. We know what you're doing.
Oh, checky.
Kabisa. All right, everybody, well done. Karibu, thank you for joining us. Let's get into it this morning, and we'll look into the headlines. News-making headlines this morning on Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard. Scam loading. Another Shah ripoff. There's a picture of the Shah CEO, Mercy Mwangangi. There's also a picture of a gentleman called Peter David Leparakwo. He's a landowner. But Sasa Wacha, I tell you the scam. Sawa. For 21 years, a disputed 23-acre plot in Karen has swallowed billions for a hospital that exists only on paper. Despite an active court fight, forged documents, and unanswered ownership claims, the Social Health Authority now wants another 30 million shillings for a fence around land the state may not even own, thus keeping a ghost project alive at staggering public cost. But we seem to like ghosts. In Kenya, ghost schools, ghost hospitals, ghost students, ghost workers, just ghosts. Boo. The authority has secured a budget of 50 million shillings to help in fencing the plot. Supposedly on paper, this hospital exists. It doesn't. As in, when you go and look like this, there's no hospital. So, even as it awaits the conclusion of an ownership dispute, DCI requested NHIF to surrender the original titles for purposes of investigation. The current status of the matter indicates that the criminal matter is still going on. Okay, so if the matter is still going on, you can't do anything about it anyway, what do you need the 50 million shillings for?
Another question. NHIF was a government entity, right?
Yeah.
So that means if they have original documents, and NHIF being a government entity, that means the original documents belong to the same government.
Yeah.
DCI is a government agency, right?
Yeah.
So that means it's also investigating the very same government.
Yeah.
So, okay. Where?
Just marinate there.
Yo.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the gentleman in question here, this Mr. Leparakwo, there is no government agency that has not investigated this matter. Sasa hii story unatuambia ni mingi sana. From the DCI, National Land Commission, for more than 40 years, surely by now you'd have found something. I mean, an investigation for 40 years is quite a thing. As far as I am concerned, there is no dispute. Hakuna kitu hapa. The land is occupied by me and the title deed is in my name. Land niya?
Yeah.
Yangu. Nyinyi ambao mnaongea hapa juu ya hospitali. Hapana, where is the hospital? There's no hospital. You people have investigated things for 40 years. If you've been investigating for 40 years and you found nothing, either we question your capacity to investigate or you're actually stabbing in the dark. Choose.
40 years.
Yeah. And you found nothing.
Investigation. And then there are original ownership documents by NHIF. And there is a hospital.
There's no hospital, as in, you see the way
on
there's
paper.
On paper there's a hospital, but when you look there, you see the Spice logo. When you look, there's no hospital.
But why are you looking for a hospital where you know it's Casper? Casper is never seen.
Exactly. Hey. No, we're looking to the details of the story so that we do not assume or presume anything.
Yes.
All right. Learned crooks. When advocates prey on already vulnerable clients, let me tell you, let's say you had a court dispute or a legal dispute with somebody. Then I owe you 10 million shillings, right? And I said, Dennis, I'm sorry, I don't have 10 million shillings right now. However, I can pay you 10,000 shillings every month. Let me pay for the rest of my life, whatever. Then you say, okay. Now, instead of me remitting the money to you directly, I remit it to you through my lawyer. Lawyer anafanya nini?
Kula kitu.
Nyonya yote. That's it. Sorry. Learned crooks. When advocates prey on already vulnerable clients, that's that story. Kenya records increase in new HIV infections, with the urban cities having the most. My goodness, guys. It's not a joke. This virus is not a joke, but apparently there's an increase in new HIV infections. Data shows 19,991 new infections were reported in 2024, marking a 19% rise from 16,752 cases in 2023. In 2019, at least 20,997 people died of AIDS-related complications, a number that increased to 21,007 in 2024. So it's like we forgot a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what the causes are.
Yeah.
Whether that's unprotected sexual activity, whether it's mother-to-child transmission, whether it's, accidents by infected vials or passing on in another way. So we'll look into the details of that. But that's worrying that we should have such high numbers, especially since we saw such a sharp decline before.
On the street it said that that many are afraid of getting pregnant and not getting HIV.
The number one purchased drug over the weekend between Thursday night and Monday morning is emergency contraception, not condoms.
Yes.
Not condoms.
That says a lot.
That says
so when you just think about that and you look at the numbers.
Are you surprised?
Nope.
Exactly. And remember that if people are on medication, HIV doesn't show on the face anymore.
Nope.
No, it doesn't. Wow. Hotels urge to roll out sexual abuse policies that, I don't know how many people in the corporate sector or any other sector have a sexual abuse policy that you can actually call on, this thing if you need to. Splashed across page 4 and 5, how disputed Shah land ghost project cost taxpayers 1.5 billion shillings. And you didn't even know. Do you know how many things you're paying for and you're none the wiser? Do you know how many things your tax is? Think about it. When you wake up in the morning and you breathe, you pay tax. When you then take a step and you're going to the matatu or you're going to your vehicle or you're going to a taxi, whatever it is that you're doing, you're paying tax.
Yeah.
You take bread and put it in your mouth, you swallow. Tax. Tea, drink, swallow. Hata kama ni uji, swallow. Even if it is the ugali remaining from yesterday, swallow, tax. You wake up, you get into the vehicle, tax. You reach where you're going, you're taxed. Then you decide you're going to eat lunch, tax you. You need airtime, tax you. You need data bundles, tax you. Then you're deciding, okay, it's time for us to go home, tax you because you're getting into the vehicle. You want to eat supper, if you can, tax you again. Maybe the only time they don't tax you is when you're in your sleep, and I'm telling you it is coming. Now, all of those taxes.
Who told you? you have paid rent to sleep in that house.
But tax. So you're taxed over and over and over again. Do you know where that money goes? You don't.
I do.
Sasa unaambia sahi 1.5 billion shillings ulilipa for a ghost. It's not funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. Because what? Yeah. It's true. That's what's happening for a ghost. At least let it be a pretty ghost. Sharp people, tell us, please.
Let's just look at 1.5 billion. Approximately, let's take the best schools in this country, right?
Yep.
How much do you think those schools get per year?
Oh my Lord. If one student in if you say the best schools, usually at the international system, what they're paying is give or take 250,000 per term.
Per term.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So let's talk about public schools. So let's talk about Alliance High School.
So the official amount is 57,000 shillings per year. No, it's put together about 75,000 per year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Assuming it's 1,000 students.
3,000.
3,000, right?
Yeah.
How much is that?
So let me tell you. Can my calculator do such a thing? Let us see. Let us try. What did you say? Times 75,000 times 3,000 is 225 million shillings. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's in one term.
One term, right?
Yeah.
That is for 3,000 students.
Yeah.
So that means you're not even knocking to 1.5 billion.
No.
So how many students
you have
take into school?
In a term, you've not even reached a quarter of that 1 billion.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that means 3,000 students can be taught, can be taken care of. How many times?
Till they finish Form 4.
Billion.
If they start in Form 1, those 3,000 students, if they all entered Form 1, could actually be taken care of until they finish Form 4. Because, till they finish Form 2, they're in term 1 of Form 3 by the time this money finishes.
And it has gone to who?
Ghost.
That's what 1.5 billion can do.
Yeah. Are we serious? Let's be putting these things out so that you can be asking yourself, Yeah. Are you surprised this morning? Yeah. It's the truth. It's actually happening.
Yeah.
What? Yeah. It is. State warns of deepening risk as terrorists infiltrate refugee camps. Hey, my God. How can somebody get you when you're down already? Wanga allies plot Magwanga ouster for defying party during mini poll. Sasa, you've been told to do certain things. You don't do it. You're a member of the party, and then now party has a role to play. Then you don't play the role.
You remember our proverb? A lion that roars. Yes.
Okay.
Catches no game.
Sindio?
Kills no game.
Kills no game.
Yes.
All right. So those are some of the stories that we're looking at. Inside 10 billion shilling feud fracturing coastal paradise at the Pingo Ridge. We're looking into that. Family agony waiting for answers months after a man's brutal murder. Life as Ryla's spokesman, how I did not become state mouthpiece. Of course, this is a story by the great Salim Lone. Lone, some call him Lone. Okay. Independent candidates and local leaders upset big names in polls. It's probably looking at an election of the independents, a conversation that we'll have later. Voilà. Some of the headlines in Kenya's Bold newspaper this morning. We'll look into more of them as we go along.
So let's go to the Daily Nation. By-elections fallout. What are we talking about? Double standards. Top politicians who backed rival candidates in the just concluded by-elections are facing disciplinary action, including potential removal from party and parliamentary leadership positions. Sources in the broad-based government team of Kenya Kwanza and ODM reveals plans to reorganize parliamentary leadership to reflect the current political realignments. And we're talking about ODM Kitutu Chacha South MP Anthony Kibagendi backed candidates from Dr. Matiang'i's UPA party. ODM Saboti MP Caleb Amisi supported candidate for DAPK in recent by-elections in Western. And Homa Bay Deputy Governor Oyugi Magwanga went against his boss in Kasipul parliamentary race. And Kitutu Masaba MP Clive supported MCA candidate Dr. Matiang'i's party in recent polls, and many other, including Kakamega Senator Boni Halwale, Nyali MP Mohamed Ali, Kabuchai MP Majimbo Kalasinga, and Kakamega Deputy Governor Ayub Savula rooted for UDA candidate in Malava by-election. So what is coming their way? Kiboko, realignment. And this is where they say choices have consequences.
Consequences.
Exactly. One would ask the question, but all these people ought to be working for Mwananchi when they were campaigning. I mean, this is where our EBC comes in. Did they sleep in class?
You are assuming they entered the class to even sleep.
No class.
Hey.
WorldCoin saga, how Kenyans iris scams ended up in Germany. Wale watu wenye macho yao
mulienda kufanya hivi KICC
huko Ujerumani. Yeah, the scams ended up in Germany.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, the High Court has brought closure to one of Kenya's most significant digital privacy scandals involving the unlawful collection and transfer of citizens' biometrics data by cryptocurrency project WorldCoin. So, yeah, Kenya's silent crisis paradox of PhD holders with no jobs. Kona PhD.
Problem.
When daktari. Hakuna kazi.
Hakuna kazi.
What do we do with our greatest minds? That's the question. Do we invest in those who've taken time to be professionals and good at it, and those who can even help you shape policy and push your economy, push decisions that are arrived at? What do you do with such brains?
You let them go.
Yeah. Meanwhile, tuko na 1.5 billion mali kwa shamba.
Yeah. So let me just clarify. This 75,000 that I was talking about is not per term. I just thought about
it's
it.
Per
it's
year.
per year. The 75,000 per student in a top national school is per year. That's what you pay in the year, right? So what we're actually saying is that if it comes to 225 million shillings in a year that this school is getting, you can actually take students in 1.5 billion shillings. You will, those students in that, if they're 3,000, they will finish school 4 terms. 4 years. Because 1 year 225, 3,000 students in 1 year. 225, and you'll still have change from 1.5 billion.
When you talk about 3,000, that is from Form 1 to Form 4.
Yeah. This is the 3,000 I'm talking about is the entire school. As in the entire school will go to school for 4 years, and you will have change. The Form 1s will enter school, they will do 4 years. Do you understand? The Form 2s will go, they will do 4 years.
4 years.
Form 3s will do, they would have done their 4 years.
Yeah.
So, and you will still have change. That's what we're saying. Yeah. Because the 3,000 students is taking into consideration Form 1, 2, 3, and 4. Or in this case, grade 10, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4. Yeah.
Hey, unachoma.
Right. The only way for us to understand, absolutely, the only way for us to understand how terrible this thing is to apply it to a situation that you and I and everybody down there is attached to. Because when they come and tell you 5 trillion shillings for tarmac road that you've not seen yet, no. Let's bring it to the things that we do every day.
Yes.
That if you're trying to eat a loaf of bread, or if you're trying to have a cup of uji, or if you're trying to say fix a road, or if you're trying to say build a school, or if you're trying to say pay school fees, or you're trying to say take people to hospital, in 1.5 billion shillings that has been paid to a ghost, somebody who doesn't exist, take that 1.5 billion shillings and see what you would be able to do with it. That is how you understand the effects of corruption. You will not understand the effects of corruption if somebody tells you, oh, the money was here today and then it's gone tomorrow. No. When we talk about 1.5 billion shillings lost to a ghost, we essentially are killing people. We are saying that 1,000 people then could have had 600 shillings per month for health. That's what we are saying. And so that money disappears. That's what happened. That people are starving because of that. Children don't go to school. They could go to school with that if you provided it. That's what we are saying.
You know, for a very long time, Ndu, a lot is always being said. Like during this by-election, Mbere was promised 500 billion.
Sorry.
Pause. Right? Counties always fight every financial year for 380 something billion. You know how many counties we have? 47. And what's the population of all these counties for you to talk about 380 something billion?
But I think
the entire country, 55 million people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now we talk about, let's take that 500 billion. SGR from Mombasa to Nairobi did not cost 500 billion.
No.
but we took it on loan.
Mm.
But this is a county that was promised 500 billion. So when you sit down and listen to what the political class is saying, we need to start asking the difficult questions. We need to relate these things to our daily lives. We can't just afford to sit down and listen, clap, and go home.
No.
We need to apply it to our daily lives and see if it's making sense or not. Because now we're talking about 1.5 billion. We've just established what 1.5 billion would do to
just
what
in school.
In schools, and not just any school. I'm sorry to use this word, but some of the best minds that we have in our high schools today. And these are the ones that we've taken from Form 1 to Form 4, transitioning to campus. With the change that we're talking about, would then take them to campus for a few more years. But all this money is lost simply because we have corrupt individuals. We are running corrupt enterprises in this country, and we just sit pretty and look at it happen.
Yeah. Absolutely, Dennis. And that's what we need to be doing. So when we see these crazy numbers coming in from the Auditor General who tells us that somebody is missing, and I keep saying this money is not missing. Money does not go missing. It doesn't disappear poof like the ghosts.
Yeah.
It is taken.
It is taken.
It's taken, and it's taken by people, not dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's taken by people. It is stolen. That's the truth. So until we start to say, okay, 10 billion shillings has been stolen, let me tell you what 10 billion shillings could do to actually take Kenya from this third world to first world. But I keep saying from developing to developed. That's what it can actually do. So these long stories that we talk about development and how we're going to move to a different class of world, no. If within you don't stop the corruption, we are not going anywhere. That's the truth.
We're not moving.
And on that, no Xmas cheer for families as festivities loom. You want to ask why? According to the Star, Oxfam reports that the cost of food has risen by 50%. And I think we know that. That just take this time now, December 1st, 2025, and December 1st, 2024, that how you used to buy food, that you're spending, if you were spending a shilling, you're now spending a shilling and 50 cents on what you used to purchase. This is Oxfam who've said this. We'll look into that. Why by-elections may determine Western politics ahead of 2027. Folks talked about it being a litmus test. Is it? There's an interview here on why illicit trade is bad for industries, taxes and livelihoods. And also in the news, Matiang'i-Gachagua rivalry divides their political handlers. So folks are starting to really think, okay, where are we going and what are we doing with this? There's a picture on the front page of the Star of President William Ruto and First Lady Rachel Ruto during a service at the Africa Inland Church, Milimani. Also there is Bishop Mairori, and they are reading the word of the Lord. And Ruto repeated his promise in church yesterday to make Kenya a first world country. Let me give you a first assignment. Find this 1.5 billion shillings for this ghost.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's saying.
It's just that simple.
Yep, it is. Kenya, Germany drawing deal to export nurses. I think it's a good idea. There's so many nurses in Kenya today who don't have a job. If they have an opportunity to work elsewhere, let them go. And before we used to court this idea of, oh no, make it better, try to, no.
Yeah.
If you have an opportunity for them to find jobs outside, let them go.
Let them go.
They can't be suffering here. Let them go. Let them go. No Christmas cheer as meager incomes wreck household budgets. Hey.
61 days.
EVE, 61 days. Christmas. Sorry. Red flags in Kenya's building industry. Run if it sounds too cheap is what you're being told. That if the house that you want to purchase or the one that you want to rent, if somebody's telling you it's cheaper than market price, you probably want to run. Why? The possibility of the thing collapsing is high. I'm not kidding. This is Kenya's building industry that's telling you this.
Yeah. It's the same thing you told in Nairobi. The best time to look for a house if you want to move is when it's raining.
It's when it's raining.
Because then you know how the roads are or if the place is flooding. Yeah.
So, Nurdin Haji's son got married over the weekend, and all the political class was at his, I was going to say funeral.
Nika.
At his wedding, yes, at the Nika ceremony. Now, Oburu Odinga has hinted at a 2027 deal with Ruto after mini polls. And at the time that he was awake during this ceremony, he said that, it's possible that we will be working with him come 2027. Some of the stories that we're looking at in the headlines today. But can I look at this Shah story so that you can understand exactly what's going on with this money? As we even have 4 minutes to go. But we've been able to look into some of these stories, so that's great. Where did that go? Did it get lost? No, here it is. All right. And this is covered in the Standard. Get yourself a copy of Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard today, or also you can subscribe to the Standard e-paper, and you can read this from the comfort of your sojourn. The 23-acre piece of land in Karen, known as LR number 24968-2, is a crime scene. No blood was spilled, neither was any safe cracked nor shots fired. It is a crime scene without a corpse, a construction site without a single brick. It is a ghost project, and this empty plot has consumed 1.568 billion shillings in actual payments to various consultants. It's been paid out.
Yeah.
Besides, pending bills worth 5.659 billion presented to the Social Health Authority by various service providers waiting payment. These guys are actually waiting for payment from Shah for something that doesn't exist.
You know how much? 5.6 billion.
In addition to the 1.5 billion for building the hospital that doesn't exist. You gotta love it.
You gotta love it.
Hey! This amount comprises the cost of buying the land, quantity survey, a business plan, financial analysis consultancy fees, legal fees, architectural design service fees, and feasibility studies. The deal leaves behind only a trail of forged documents, questionable payments, and a 21-year-old court case frozen in time. Shah, the new entity that replaced the scandal-ridden National Hospital Insurance Fund, has budgeted 50 million shillings this financial year to fence the disputed land valued at 1.5 billion shillings. This comes despite the original title deed being held as evidence by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, and a 2016 court order for fencing the estimated cost at a cost of 4 million. Do you understand? According to papers, this thing was already fenced for 4 million. Today, Shah is holding 50 million shillings to fence the same land, which was fenced for 4 million shillings.
At a cost of 4 million.
Okay. The proposed expenditure, confirmed by Shah Chief Executive Officer Mercy Mwangangi before a parliamentary committee, represents a staggering 1.150% cost escalation for a fence around a property the state may not even legally own. It is, in the words of a petition now before the High Court, a case of systematic budgeted corruption. Our investigations placed together from court documents, affidavits, and reports from the Auditor General and tabled before Parliament begins in April 2002. It started a long time ago. I urge you to get a copy of this and read the story. But the long and short of it is this. The land belongs to a gentleman called Peter David Leparakwo. He said, "What are you people talking about? This is my land. I have the documents." Shah is saying we have put aside 50 million to fence the land. According to documents held by the DCI. Remember you were asking, is it not a state entity?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. These documents show that you guys have already fenced the land and you spent 4 million shillings for it. Which 50 million do you want to use to spend to fence which land? And according to documents which Shah has, this hospital has been built. You've paid people.
Yeah.
So what are you fencing it for? My God.
And there are others who are asking for 5.6 billion shillings in terms of pending bills.
That 1.5 billion shillings that we're talking about that's going to school children, it's not just 1.5.
It is 7 billion.
It's 7 billion. That story by David Odongo is in Kenya's bold newspaper, The Standard, and you'll be able to get a copy of that. Also get a copy of The Standard e-paper. Have a look at that. It's not going to cost you 1.5. It's 7 a.m.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaka. Kenya marked World AIDS Day yesterday with a national event that combined public mobilization, policy advancement, and health sector reform. Prime Cabinet Secretary Honorable Musalia Mudavadi issued a strong call to action, emphasizing the urgent need to confront the resurgence of HIV infections, particularly among adolescents and young adults, who now account for 41% of all new adult infections nationally.
This is a big challenge. We cannot afford to let it go because the resurgence is worrying, the resurgence is aggressive, and the resurgence needs to be checked before it finishes our young generation. The data that we have had from 16,000, I think 3 years or so ago, to 19,000 young, almost 20,000 cases. It was 19,900 and something new cases of the young perishing because of the resurgence of AIDS is something for us to worry about.
The Prime Cabinet also laid out the scale of the crisis and situated it within the broader triple threat of new HIV infections, teenage pregnancies, and sexual and gender-based violence.
So it is real. We need to talk to our young people. We need to be courageous. The way you said, if we don't inculcate it now, integrate it in our educational processes, we are only living in denial. We should not live in denial on this matter. It is real.
County Director AHF Kenya, Dr. Samuel Kinyanjui, highlighted the practical benefits already emerging from the integration of HIV services, further explaining that merging HIV care with routine primary and chronic disease services has enhanced continuity of care across the health system, reduced stigma, improved patient experience, and strengthened service delivery at a time when donor support is declining.
First of all, to me, HIV integration is an opportunity, is a good opportunity. First, to kill stigma. Because separation, where that's HIV clinics there, everybody going there knows that I've already been forced to disclose my status. But if you are queuing as a chronic care clinic, you would know where I'm here. I can actually say maybe it's gout, maybe it's my DM, maybe it's my hypertension. You would know. So we can kill the stigma, but we need to improve on our communication. The other thing our request is as implementing partners is also for a guideline from the national government that can help the counties to standardize the care that they are giving to our people.
Kenya Kwanza coalition leaders have strongly criticized the opposition, saying they are spreading hatred, division, and empty rhetoric. Now, this comes after positive by-election results which show the public's growing confidence in President William Ruto's government. According to National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, leadership positions will not be sought by humiliating others, criticizing former Speaker Justin Muturi for attacking a UDA agent in Mbeere North.
Tuko na watu ambao wanafikiri kama si wao hakuna Kenya. Kama kiongozi atoki kwao hakuna kiongozi. Hao ndio wanataka kuvunja nchi yetu. Siasa ya ukabila, siasa ya chuki, siasa ya matusi. Niliona rafiki yetu ule mtu ya shares akizungumuza maneno, akizungumuza, nikaona rafiki yangu Muturi anachapa kijana ngumi na mateke. Kura haitafutwi hivyo. Kura ni kutongoza watu. Hata nyinyi vijana, ukipenda msichana yangu ukitaka kumuoa, ukienda na ngumi na mateke hutapata. Lazima uende na lugha safi, umtongoze, useme hata kama huna kitu. Mwambie ukifika tu kwangu na kununulia ndege. Na huna kitu. People live on hope. Huna gari, hata huna pikipiki, mwambie meli iko Mombasa yangu. Na mnakubaliana mnaenda, si ndio?
His statement was echoed by Senate Majority Leader Njeri, who said the opposition is directionless and will be further humiliated in the next general elections.
Hii watu ya opposition speaker, hata mimi nimeshangaa. For the first time, we have the most useless opposition in the history of the Republic of Kenya. Hata wewe umewahi kuwa opposition. But when you're in opposition, you used to sell a credible message. You used to behave like an alternative government. Unakosoa serikali lakini kwa njia ya akili. Hao wa sasa, kama vile wananchi wao wanaambia rais siku hizi, hata akili kweli hawana vile inasemekana. Uchaguzi sasa imetokea. Chama yetu ya UDA imepata ushindi kila kona. Hiyo Banisa kule Northeastern sio Malava Western, Baringo, wapi, kila kona, baka MCS Turkana kule. Na unajua, most times, Speaker, you know this, ruling parties during midterm elections, they normally fail because of the burdens of incumbents.
That's the Nyamweya Nyamweya Ubaka.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
In this country, 6 families and 8,000 Kenyans control 90% of the GDP. We are not a country. We are a plantation. We work for Ruto.
When you're telling the judges court orders are papers or they will not obey court orders, they're sitting and you're seeking orders from them. So how are they supposed to interpret it? Isn't it an oxymoron?
When you see a judiciary that seems to be under some control somewhere, you start questioning. We have very powerful governors, but they don't use their offices to serve the people.
If you are not shameful to do what you are doing, why should we protect you?
I'm human. Everybody is human. So when you're told, kuja tuongee, I mean, you'd be a fool to say, staki kuongea. Conversations have to be had, you know?
People in leadership should only go into leadership if they are ready and willing to change the lot of the people.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi. This is the Situation Room.
All right, getting into things at 8 minutes after 7 o'clock this morning. It's Kenya's biggest conversation on this Monday, the 1st of December. We're getting into the end of the year real quick already, and it looks as though we've lived 10 in just one. But hey, we're going to get into it anyway. And as we do that, getting into this month, our friends at Airtel are saying that there's certain things that you can do.
Yes. Now you can imagine a situation where you're just enjoying yourself, you're streaming your best movies, you're listening to your favorite songs, or you're even just following up on your class, you know, those of us who are in school.
Right.
Then all of a sudden that internet does that thing. Pop, it has gone. Now, imagine a situation where you're trying to explain to your friends what happened, but you can't. You know, simply because internet left you hanging, you know. But you hear everyone having stories on how this game was nice, or this movie you're following, imefika that place that is now at a climax, but you can't follow because your internet left you. But now Airtel is telling you that they're here to sort you out. Fear of missing out, FOMO, you know, Gen Z's, millennials, FOMO. Fear of missing out now will become something real of the past. Of the past.
Okay.
No,
you don't have to worry. It's
you
been
don't have
real.
to worry. It's been real, you know. So, but how do you do that? Airtel is telling you that they have a happy hour, unlimited fun bundles, and is designed for those moments where you get unlimited data. Now, how do you do that? For 1 hour, you just get 19 shillings. Yeah, 1 hour you spend 19 shillings. 3 hours you get just for 45 shillings. And the best part is that you buy it when you need it. Unajua, when you need it. I want to watch my movie now. I buy that bundle now and I enjoy my movie now.
Okay.
I want to stream my football now. I buy it now and I enjoy my football. It's not a question of buying it and then iketu hapo imelala. Apana, don't be that lion. You know? So if you need to upload every heavy content or binge watch, just dial *544#. Again, *544# or use my Airtel app. And if you're not on Airtel, just grab a SIM card from the nearest Airtel shop. And because honestly, with happy hour bundles, no one should be dealing with fear of missing out. What do you do again? Dial *544# or go to my Airtel app to get your airtime.
There you go. Starting off those festivities to Airtel this morning and getting into it. Speaking about the festive season, you can feast, shop and jingle at Sarit this festive season. So what do I mean? Well, it started about a couple of days ago, and until the 24th of December, you can enjoy daily festive activities, including meet and greet with Mr. and Mrs. Santa. Did you know that Mr. Santa had a Mrs.? Well, you can meet her at Sarit. Photo moments with the elves at the Christmas decoration site, and also fun appearances by Rudolph. He's the red-nosed reindeer. And you can also have surprise encounters with the Grinch. All these Christmas characters at Sarit. Festive choral performances. You can spin the wheel with instant prizes and earn points as you shop with the Sarit loyalty app. Shop unique African gifts at the Masai Market every Wednesday and Thursday. What you want to do is you want to experience festive cheer and magical moments all season long, only at Sarit. So do that with Sarit Centre and get down to the Sarit Centre and start to enjoy the festive season. Not to leave the folks at Naivas out, because you know what? You need to drop everything you're doing now. This is the official final call from Naivas, the biggest savings event of the year. Black November is entering its final stretch and we're getting into December. So we're saving up to 60%, folks, on almost every single thing, from electronics to fresh food, kitchenware, daily essentials, and much more. We're talking about massive, unbeatable prices. That thing that you wanted to buy, Dennis, do it now. We're giving away the iron boxes. We're doing toasters, blenders, and heaters. And we're saying the big ones, 45 motorcycles and 6 brand new cars, plus TVs, fridges, cookers, and more. So what you need to do is simple. Register for a loyalty card, do your shopping, and if you win, the winning message will be printed on your receipt the moment you pay. Now, yani instant win. We're not waiting until tomorrow. No. Neither is it a ghost. It's right there for you to experience. The festive season, take advantage of Lipa Pole Pole on the convenient buy now, pay later option. And you can also use Faraja on M-Pesa for 0 interest installments. Shop more, stress less. That's the Naivas way. Now, before I go, here's some hype. The icon is returning. Get ready. Kenya, because the one, the only, the Naivas Kikwetu legendary Mbuzi is coming. Keep it locked on SpiceFM. And you want to tune into the Drive Show with CEO for more details. Shop smart and stay tuned with Naivas, because Naivas does what? Naivas saves you money. So we're getting our festive season kicked in proper, and we'll give you all the information more and more as we get into it on the Situation Room. Sawa. Bus. We're having a conversation. We're coming off of the by-elections that happened on Thursday last week. And of course, there's still many things simmering, still many pots on the fire, doing 1, 2, 3. We're going to get into a couple of conversations this morning. We start that off with 2 gentlemen. Kennedy Obuya is the chairman, UDA Homa Bay, joins us this morning in the Situation Room. Chairman, good morning.
Good morning, my sister. And you're well?
I'm very well, thank you. Good morning, good to see you.
Good to see you, my sister.
Karibu. Dr. Peter Mbai is the Secretary, Planning and Economic Affairs with DCP. Good morning.
Good morning, good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Very well, and Eric, and I hope you've had a good week.
We did. Getting into a new morning, getting into it. We're going to be looking at a couple of things. Like I said, the fires are still burning. But before that, I think you're going to like this proverb. Dennis is going to tell you where it's from. We'd love to hear your interpretation.
So this proverb comes from a game park in South Africa, and talks about lions and how you need to stop talking and just walking. And it says, a roaring lion kills no game. A roaring lion kills no game. How would you interpret that, man?
Myself? Thank you. This is interesting, Bernard Dennis. A roaring lion kills no game. I think this encourages everyone that you can work in silence and focus on the targets. Yeah, you can work in silence and focus on the target. People who make a lot of noise have very minimum impacts.
Okay.
Daktari.
A roaring lion kills no game. You are there. I'm imagining. First of all, when you lower, you this bravado thing, like I'm the king of the jungle, the bravado stuff.
Yeah.
But deep inside, the actuals, before you know, everybody is gone because you're still there thinking. You see, remember historically, I'm the king, and that's what you have in Kenya today. There's somebody who's going all over the place, saying, you know me, I'm a destiny connector. I'm the man who is going to take us to Singapore, first world. But he doesn't know. The people left a long time ago. The more you all remember, you scare people away. So these are very good. I don't know how you got to be getting many of these every day, so that we can continue reminding the system today and the president of Kenya that where he was in 2022, the people left and he's still worrying, saying, and there's nothing bad as that self-entitlement, that I am the king, when you don't know that people left a long time ago.
Okay.
It's interesting. Because these moments in which we find ourselves are quite interesting ones. So Kenya went to the mini polls, and it's a mini poll. The mini polls have happened in Kenya before. Constitutionally, when there is a mini constitutional, it's not even called a crisis, but the Constitution demands that for whatever reason, if a position should fall vacant due to natural attrition, due to promotion of an individual, or due to resignation of an individual, you have 90 days within which to replace. The IEBC then has 90 days within which to replace that individual. It so happened that because there was no IEBC in place at the time when some of these positions fell vacant, that all of them were put together. And so there were 24 positions that needed filling. But never have we seen the kind of movement around by-election that we saw last Thursday before. In fact, sometimes by-elections have happened and people don't even know that they were going on. So there were clear indications that this particular by-election was joined at the hip with what will happen in 2027. And on that level, it didn't disappoint. So let's pick up some of the pieces and do our own audits here in the room, shall we? We start with you, Dr. Mbai. That the by-elections took place, folks were declared winner at least by the next morning, and by the end of the next day, we kind of knew who was where. But also by the end of the next day, we also have heard then claims or allegations of voter bribery, about misconduct during elections, whether it came from the IEBC, two-party participants, whatever the case may be. It turned out having a bit of an bitter aftertaste. Why is that? And what exactly happened?
Thanks so much. I'm a student of politics and government. And when you want to go learning, you want to be there. That's why I've been there for 2 weeks in Bere, for example, and of course following up what is happening within our DCP parties across the country and also the United Opposition. One, you said something. Why was there a delay? By the way, let's start from there. Because there was no political will to put in place an IBC. Remember, the law was very clear. The president was to, start the process, appoint the panel to appoint the members. That's number one. We are saying here, if you want to go far, we must be led by systems, and structures and procedures. That's number one to note. But before I proceed, it's good to mention, because sometimes we throw this thing under the carpet. It's good to mention in passing that today is World AIDS Day.
Yes, it is.
It's important just to take note of that. It happens once in a year. The numbers are rising. It has shifted from Luo Nyanza to Nairobi. For us, as I was looking at these statistics last night, I was thinking, can we make this conversation very normal? Especially in the target group, adolescents and young people. Let's make it normal. These people are always on TikTok. Can we have the people who concern just to make it a normal conversation, so that the many tweets people do and TikTok's conversations, also the issue of AIDS becomes there, so that it's normalized. It doesn't become like it's a topic out there. It's not for us, because it's mostly under there. 41% infections is people under 25 years and so. That's just to mention, it's important that way. But let me say this. First, I wish to congratulate our members of the DCP who won the seats, a member of County Assembly in Kariobangi, a member of the County Assembly in Narok Town, and member of the County Assembly in Kisa East, that is in Kakamega. I also wish to say thank you, a big high up to our member who missed Narori in Polko Ward, and also Magarini MP who lost Narori. I think he came number 2 for a party which is about 6 months old, not yet launched officially. That's a big thing. But also, and then I was also to echo very quickly our united opposition. We won in the one of the hotly contested in Bungoma. You know what I mean? In Chwere. We won there, the independent candidate that we were supporting. But also 3 MCA positions previously held by the government. We won in Nyamweya, and also we were able to give a very good appearances. We won in Mumbuni, of course, and others. Out of, there was 1 senator, 6 MPs, 17 MCAs. We never, of course, many of them we were not interested in Tana River, in Nandi, Lagos, Malkwet, Samburu, and other. But the ones we contested, there was a good show. But let me ask you a question. This is what happens. We went to an election whereby the government was committed, was like, we don't care about whatever happens, but we must win the parliamentary seats, just to show that we are strong. So that's where the whole thing started. And the point whereby there was massive, I would say, a lot of massive voter bribery, violence, to a point where in one incident in Mbere North, one of the cabinet secretaries literally stormed a police station, ordered all the agents to get out, and took off with the ballot box without being counted. So they went counted on their own and dedicated, you guys will give you 100, then ourselves 400.
Dr. Mbai, you've basically said a cabinet secretary went, took a ballot box and disappeared.
Literally. He went, caused some drama. I mean, some stuff, went off, and then police came, he went in, he targeted the agents so they can get off. But what is interesting, finally they sent us a form purportedly signed by our own agent with fake signatures, and he took off. And so what happened? Results came 134 polling stations, right? Results came up to 100. Then it is stored. Then I knew this thing is serious. But what is interesting, political parties, you can do whatever you want to do. But where IBC is involved, that's where the whole issue is, Dennis. Actually, one of which, because what we said fine. You got it 9-0, you got it 9, but right now, there's a team that is going to court. We are waiting for the CJ to gazette. The electoral court, we are going to go, that's the law, yeah? The CJ has to gazette. We want to lay bare whatever happened, so that now it becomes a result to all of us here. Thank God we have the time, because if that's what they are planning to do in 2027, it's one thing to have an opponent called government, but it's another thing to have IBC at the center of those kind of allegations. We are investigating reports. Now, this is very important. We are investigating reports that some people out of Mbere came and voted, especially from Muranga. They were called 2-3 days ago. We got information. You come with your ID, you are going to vote. Or we thought, how? Then others from Nakuru, the same case. We are told quite a number of people, 200 of them. But now afterwards, people are coming out to speak, because it's the end of the day, they are not paid all the money. They are saying, yes, we went, and they explain to us how they voted. So we are saying, lawyers, up to you. We want to demonstrate.
How did they vote in polling stations where they were not registered?
I can tell you this according to the information that we got, and of course I can say allegedly voted. We have thrown all this matter to our team in Mbere. We have lawyers, 15 of them sitting today and tomorrow, going back to ask IBC to answer some questions. We don't want them to be answered through the media. We don't want those questions to be answered in public arrest. We want them to be answered in a court of law. It's going to be very simple. Just come and tell us, who are these people who voted? Did you discover? UDA never celebrated. Now, if the statistics we got last night from a team of lawyers, you can see the numbers. The numbers that were supposed to vote in the gentleman, and the numbers that were supposed to vote in the candidate we are supporting, the numbers couldn't match. And you can see the mood. When you win, there's a mood. But the mood was like, they did it. They went to visit some children's homes because they knew the popular vote is not there. But let me tell you the final one. Up to now, Dennis Anul, we don't know who was our opponent. We don't know whether it is Leo Wamadende or whether it is Leonard Njeri. Even today, IBC has not answered. We ask them, please tell us, who are we going to these elections with? So the basic question we are going to put before the judge, please judge, help us to understand. Kenyans are waiting. Tell us whether it is Leonard Njeri, the man who appeared in the register of 2022. Remember, in Mbere North, there was no chance to change the names. because where there were by-elections, the register was not opened. So the man who appeared finally was Wamudende, but he was not appearing in the register. Those are the questions we want answered. Why? Because we may have, they may have stolen this one, but we want to make a statement to this country. We want to find out the integrity of our systems and whether IBC can be trusted to take us to the next place. Right now, IBC is on the spot.
All right. So, Nyamweya, did you notice any of the same things in Homa Bay? Because we also know that the Kasipul constituency by-election took place, and this is a Homa Bay constituency. Did you notice that there was anything, or did this election go according to plan and everything went well?
Thank you. Before I touch on Kasipul, please allow me to observe a few things. Number one, the most important day today, the World AIDS Day.
World AIDS Day, yes.
Yeah, I want to encourage those living with HIV/AIDS, those who are affected, those who are infected, that collectively, individually, we can kick HIV/AIDS in Kenya as envisioned by the health experts by 2030. You are not alone. You have God on your side. Let us live positively and responsibly. Secondly, please allow me to also observe and make a few comments on my fellow panelists here. Thank you, Dennis, for bringing up this very beautiful proverb. A lion that kills, a lion that riles does not kill any game. This actually tells us about, I could listen, Dr. Can I be honest? Should I be honest with you?
Well, please, we are here.
If this kind of serious allegations comes from a planning director, I believe so, of DCP, then I don't think Rigiji and the team needs any other enemy. Because if this is the kind of rhetoric, wild, imagined allegations that are made after a process, why do I say that? The people of Mbere constituency actually knew who they want. And I also want to remind my brother here that in law, I do not know so much about this gentleman called Wamudende in person. I believe that the law allows people to change names and patent identities. How I pray that my good friend here, Daktari, could have done due diligence and found out when was this done.
Did you find out?
I'm asking him. He should find out as somebody who becomes from the mountain. And this is where, their leadership is widely contested. I also wanted to ask that, it is interesting how DCP, led by my brother here, celebrates wins they had for a few MCAs by DCP party. Yet, he discredits the same IBC that officiated the same wins that he celebrates, that IBC is not credible, where he lost. That is also very interesting. Moving forward, my sister, talking about Homa Bay. Homa Bay, I want to register with the citizens that in Homa Bay County, those who are competing were basically those who stand for the Tuta movement, either as independent, as MDG, as ODM, or any other affiliated parties. So I want to say that in Homa Bay Kasipul by-election, it was a friendly fire from people who believe in the presidency and the re-election of President William Samoei Ruto.
Oh, okay.
However, there were isolated incidences of violence, like the one we saw meted on my good friend Honorable Peter Kaluma, and and other citizens. That was uncalled for, and collectively and individually, I condemn it. That was not necessary. We want a way. One of the things that people from my end, and I want to work on as an individual, as the chair for UDA in Homa Bay, and I will pool my colleagues across Nyanza region, is to work in a way that our competition internally does not scare away our voters, so that we kill voter apathy.
You have competition internally?
Of course, we are living in a multi-democratic state. We have personal interests as members of UDA, that those who are members of UDA will be competing against each other. Obviously, we have sister parties. We have people who are going to support President William Ruto, like we witnessed in this by-election, who would be running as independent and from other smaller parties.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need to look at the process of these elections, because oftentimes process is where the devil hides in the details. We saw an entire election in 2017 overturned, not because there was a contestation about who won the election, but there was a contestation about the channel through which this process then was delivered. And on that basis, an entire election of the president was nullified. And they said, go back, because the process was not clear. It would appear as though across board on Thursday that IEBC had a few questions to answer in terms of processes. Would we, and I want to come back to you, Dr. Mbai, that are we looking at a situation whereby, IEBC is still cutting its teeth, and that probably needs a little bit of time, not quite sure about some of these things, how to handle them? Is that an issue, or does it look like something was either ignored or turned a blind eye towards?
I would say this, and I would say this because I'm a Kenyan and we are building institutions. We had hoped, honestly, with all the noises we made about the composition of IBC, that they would come out and try to prove us wrong. We had raised issues about the process of getting the IBC commissioners, clearly. And we had said, this is a dead-arm thing, last-minute thing, and brought in somebody like Noel. We knew a dead-arms come after an afterthought. I mean, we know. But we said, we're not going to go to court. We're going to contest because of timelines. But we just hoped, the moment you pick the Bible, Dennis, you shift your allegiance to the person who recommended your name to serve the country and the constitution of Kenya. That was our hope. Like what happened with Akina Chebukati and others. Of course, that is subject to another discussion. We had hoped somehow you'll not be so obvious that you are moving to this direction. Why am I saying that? Look at what happens. Immediately, my party leader signals off the issue of the vice chair of IBC. I mean, going to meet the governor of Magarini. The other issue we saw here, we have been trying to tell us who is running. And by the way, we have done our investigations. The person who is in the register is Njeri. The person who comes to vote, nomination papers, is another name. So be asking, please tell us from the word go. Why she's talking about, what you're talking about processes, is that people cannot complain that somebody has run away with ballot, because we did it. Then you continue to count.
You did what? You ran away with ballot?
Yes, no. The people who ran away with it, we complained about it.
Okay.
But they went ahead to announce the winner. We'll be asking, how do you go about this? So personally, I'm very worried. But let me tell you this. Why we want to take Mbeere North, for example, as an example, and Marava. We have asked our partners, Eugene Wamarwa and the team that was in Western, to also go to court. Because, I mean, you can't come vandalize. Beat up the candidate, said Panyako, literally harass someone. All that violence must be accounted for. So we are saying now, the IBC must come in. So back to Mbeere, we are saying, just to answer your question, we want Mbeere to be an example, to tell IBC how not to run elections, and to see whether the kind of pronouncements that are going to be done by the High Court, by the courts and all that, whether they are going to help this country to tighten our systems. That's why we said, okay, hold on a minute, no much talk, let's go down now, let's go legal, because political is not possible, just to go and make sure that IBC does their work. So yes, there were so many gaps that we saw enough gaps, by the way. We have like 5 to 10 questions IBC has to answer in a court of law, slowly, no pressure, no hurry. By the way, the court allows us, the law allows us 28 days to file a petition. So we are doing it silently. We are waiting for the court of law to be gazetted. Then we are going to move there. But I want to say this. You could see also the desperation by which the government wanted those seats. By hook or crook, desperation itself. Like we must win. What for? Let me ask you, if you come and bang and steal parliamentary seats, the sound of the people at the MCA level. That's where you want to test where people are. But look at what happens. Immediately on 28th, a celebration had to happen in this country. Do you know what happened? Do you know who were the victims? Lilongwe Summit Road. No contractor yet. Negotiations are still going on. I mean, you don't commission a road where the contractor is not yet done, work is not finished, not signed, and not mobilized. Normally you commission something where everything is done, you come and commission, then the next day people are working. But that commissioning course had to happen to come and celebrate. The bravado you're talking about the lion. You know what? This is what is going to happen. It's a lesson. You know very well you stole elections. But you still want to go and paint it on Kenyans to go celebrate it by all those rallies. So what are we saying here? Let's be sober. I want to say here on record that at least what I know, Marava and Bere garment store, literally, that was, like by force, robbery with violence. Now, we are investigating reports. My brother doesn't know to hear these things. I am very keen on my words. We are investigating reports that at least some hundreds of votes of ID cards were actually bought at 10,000 each. We are investigating. We have told our teams to go look for people who are ready, of course, to file affidavits, right? To sign affidavits, because right now we are not going to talk in barrios or rallies. We are investigating reports, like I told you, that, IDs were picked, they were carried away, and all those kind of things. Voter assisted was rampant. Somebody would come 40 years, 30 years, say, I don't know how to vote. I want to be assisted. Now he'll be assisted by an agent, and then he'd go out and be given 5,000. I mean, some things are political, but we are saying, can we just be decent? And listen to me, decent, Dennis. There's something we call political hygiene, political decency. We want to come back and say, where will the president and the system get 400 million to 600 million spent in Bere in 2027? I mean, where will he get the 400 to 600 million in Bere? Where will he get all the people he sent to Bere? Where will have 290 constituencies running? Where will have governors and senators and women reps and himself looking for votes? I can tell you this was what I would call, a very deceptive win. Because it's not based on anywhere on the ground.
I want to ask Kennedy the question in terms of the process, yeah? So we look at our EBC and how the elections were handled. So we have the violence that we saw. We know how it reacted in Kasipul and how the two candidates signed on the dotted paper to maintain law, peace and order, also being fined. But then again, you find that the very same REBC is quiet when we have cabinet secretaries campaigning against the law, because we know what the law says in terms of state officers and campaigning and being involved in politics. How would you rate IEBC's performance during this time? Because we know election is not an event, it is a process.
Yeah. Thanks, Dennis. Number one, just like I normally say that, Rome was not built in a day. IBC is an electoral body that is important and very fundamental in choosing leaders. And that platform normally has challenges. And historically, the challenges that comes with every electoral body is on record that we've had challenges that nearly every election. That's why the law is very clear that in any election that people who participate feel that it was not done procedurally, they go to court. So the law is clear because the law knows that there could be gaps. However, I want to be very specific with the by-election that we had. Let me touch on number one in Mbere. The Mbere, there was a serious precedence that was set earlier in the day that I watched on TV by Honorable Justin Muturi, who stormed a polling station with goods nearly about 35 against a member of parliament. I can't remember a member of parliament for where. And, he literally threw him out of this station just because he wore a yellow jacket.
Yellow being synonymous with UDA.
Not wearing campaign materials on the very day.
it was. I believe it was not. It didn't have a signature for UD other than the color.
Okay.
Other than the color, I believe there wasn't any other party signatures. So I think that was a wrong precedence. And I also watched Justin Muturi literally beating up members of the public, some young man, outside the polling station. We cannot claim to want a clean process, yet we are the same people who provoke our opponents. I do not say that two wrongs makes a right, but it is high time as Kenyans we must collectively take responsibility for our
simple
actions.
Question.
Yes
or no, or you can expound on it.
Yes, please.
Would you, where you sit, are you in a position to say that these elections were held in accordance to the law?
These elections were very procedural. They were held according to the law, as much as there were a few isolated incidences like the one in Mbere and the one in Malava
and Homa Bay.
And Homa Bay.
Okay, so this is the
and
question.
we have the law.
Right.
We have the law, we have the courts. Everybody who feels like my brother here that their rights were violated, let us listen to how the court will interpret.
Okay, that's great. And they will go to court.
Yes.
But this is the thing, that the IEBC is the body that presides over the electoral process. And the elections, right? That prior to this by-election, we saw the fining of two gentlemen to the tune of 1 million shillings each for supposed chaos in Homa Bay, in Kasipu.
There were deaths, not only chaos.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, if the IEBC was so ardent pre-election, I would have to ask that the things that we saw during the election, there should have been immediate censure of them. Because then I have to ask, if there was no censure in one place, but there was censure in another place, we must look at the IEBC in totality as one body. It is not severed off to deal with here. It is the IEBC, right? So would it make sense to have said, okay, JB Muturi allegedly beating up somebody or being seen to beat up somebody, CS Roko going into a polling station and cutting off, doing whatever, the violence that we saw meted on Peter Kaluma, the other things that we saw collectively, should IEBC not have acted on the spot to say, this is not allowed, this must stop? But they were quiet. Quiet as a church mouse. Till today, we've not heard any condemnation, we've not heard any censure, we've not seen any fining, we've not seen as much as a peep come out of IEBC. Is that okay?
I don't want to judge, but I don't think it is okay. Number one, two deaths were recorded a few days before the 27th in Homa Bay, in Kasipul. And where human life is involved, I think what IBC did to put a measure of deterrence based on the coming elections of the 27th, that was very welcome. Equally, I want to also call upon the Commission that the isolated incidences like the one we witnessed in Homa Bay, the one we witnessed in Mbere, and also Malava. In Malava, I saw actually on social media, one Seth Panyako posted on his Facebook page his team stripping naked one allegedly goon, somebody of age who's above 50, a gentleman by the name Nyundo, stripped naked, and him, being a leader and a contestant, posting that celebrating, stripping and beating up of an alleged goon in public. I think that was uncalled for. And I would want an IBC that they could come up with a report, and based on the events that happened on the day of the election, that based on the feedback as a commission that we've had, we hereby, number one, take responsibility that in this area was not properly managed. As a UDA member, that is my prayer, that IBC should be taking responsibility of their actions. But equally, I also know that an election that we say it is a process. It is a process that the law also gives that in an event there are gaps, then we have the judicial processes. It doesn't only end with the IBC. So those who are aggrieved, you understand, have the right to go to court and also get their right.
This is interesting. I'm sorry. This is interesting. But for every election where there has been a dispute, one of the groups whereby there has been a finger pointed at has been at the IEBC. Whether you want to look at the days of Sami Kivuitu, whether you want to look at the days of Isaac Hassan, whether you want to look at the days of Wafula Chebukati, that the IEBC has come right in the center of all of this at every time. And there was the hope for Kenyans that this by-election would show that you have an IEBC in place that was not going to take any nonsense.
My sister,
my problem. I hear your question. I want to answer it without losing it.
Okay.
We have a big problem seated here. We had given IBC some kind of benefit of doubt that despite the composition, somehow you'd stand there and say, wait a minute, guys, I come from some village, I come from somewhere, somebody knew me, they commended my name, but as of now, let me serve the country.
Let me work.
That's the hope we had.
Okay.
That's the hope we had. I will go to but let's be very clear. I don't want me to defend JB and all that. He may have been, because somebody comes in here, Rukalas, and he was like, guys, please just get off. But let me say this. IBC must stand and seem to be firm. We have reports that some very senior members of IBC were seen somewhere, both in the commission level and executive. But for seated here as a leader, I hate complaining all the time? Because there are millions of people down there looking upon us. So what are we saying? Is that night on Thursday, we made a decision. We want to slowly go, just to give you, just for the benefit of all the millions of Kenyans who are asking the same questions about can we trust IBC. We want to expose. We want to put bare what happened, and we are taking an example of Mbere, and we want to do the same with Marava, to show the extent by which IBC did or did not do what it was supposed to do. So that therefore we ask our questions. How do we move on to 2027? Because as we speak here, we have so many questions for IBC. The issue of being compromised, the issue of going to bed with the executive, the issue of lack of independence. We saw some people in the past, you IBC, but you can stand your ground. We saw a commissioner literally run away when she was threatened, Roslyn and all that. So it's possible, Dennis, to be a commissioner for the 6 years and say, I'm going to serve my country. We have a problem today of serious interference of IBC by the executive. We want to demonstrate that very soon, going forward, so that we know whether, as a Kenyan people, we can be able to stand. And that's why we see people all over the place. Let me tell you, Dennis, if you believe that you beat Gachagua and United Opposition hands down, if you believe that all those by-elections, especially parliamentary ones, especially Mbere and Marava and Magarini, you beat Gachagua and opposition, United Opposition, why do you go and chase him back at Kariobangi, for him in church, put tear gas? Or if you know you are king and you know your opponent is down, why? It's because you know it is fake. You know these wins are not there. That's why you are running out to say, because the only person, let me tell you something, in all the by-elections we did, when we were in UDA, the new UDA now, against government then Jubilee, we did those by-elections. Luto was a DP, he was a party leader, he never went even to one. It is Rigathi Gachagua and us who did those by-elections. He knows how we did it. So he knows the power of by-elections against the government. So, and he knows when men who has proper grassroots mobilization skills is Rigathi Gachagua. That's why he's still chasing him, even after saying that they have won. Look at the paradox. So we are saying here, let's be balanced here, and let's be fair to each other. And please, we need to condemn that. At any one time, we have seen this trend continue. Dennis and we cannot have political leaders going to fight it out in churches before children and men of God and worshippers. Can we agree? We fight in the fields.
So then it means, I'm sorry, Dennis, because I know he has a question. So then this is not an IEBC issue, but it is a human politician's issue. Because in church, there was no IEBC. In church yesterday, there was no IEBC, and this behavior that we see still carries on beyond the ballot.
Good. We are separated to things, Thank you for your question. Can we agree? IBC, the moment we come before you for the purpose of elections, kindly stand firm. Let politicians go and play out there. Don't also bring bad politics into church, because now that's another thing altogether. We are ready to square out with anybody in the open fields, in Lales, all those kind of places. But don't come and for fear of the opposition, for fear of Kasongo and one term, and Ruto must go. You go chasing people inside church. Do you know what happened? In Kariobangi, where elections were free and fair, the real gauge UDA candidate was number 4. In Kariobangi. Because they were not able to flex muscles and all that kind of money. But they went out there because they wanted to boast because of parliamentary seats. Kariobangi UDA candidate was number 4. Now that's the reality. But now the fear is this man, if you allow him to go on this way, we know that we stole this thing. But this guy, if he goes and does a rap in Nairobi City, what is going to be the impact? Now, we are saying IBC, do your work. Let politicians square out where they're supposed to be. That one we can sort any day. But the moment we go to IBC, they have to do it clean and fair square.
These by-elections have been seen as a litmus test for 2027. And like you've said, a lot has happened. There have been gaps and all that. But one would look at it and extrapolate it. If this is just a by-election, we've seen people have died. We've seen violence. We've seen the lobbying abrogated. We've seen cabinet secretaries campaigning against the law. One would say come 2027 things will get worse. As a UDA chair in Homa Bay, are you concerned that 2027, having seen what has happened in 2025, that we are not headed in the right way?
We are very headed to the right direction. Number one, it's important anyone to have what we call self-awareness. The democratic gains we have as a nation, you cannot appreciate it unless you get out of this country. Let's go to our neighbors. Look at the electoral laws of Tanzania. Let us look at the electoral laws of Uganda. Then you'll come back home and say, well, as much as we have a few gaps here and there, we are doing well democratically. Our constitution is a very strong constitution. What we need to do is a culture change, like my sister Ndu was trying to ask Dr. here. A culture change. Our biggest problem as a nation is bad culture. And this is a responsibility not only of politicians, also of citizens. Because there's nobody who will coerce you to vote and force you to vote for a specific person.
But that culture change.
It is willing buyer, willing seller. So as citizens, what do we need to do as citizens? Every community, every leader, every living person in Kenya who is of adult of sound mind should have a self-awareness, like, what do I need as a citizen?
Do you believe culture change needs to also come from the high-end mighty, one would say, especially from the political class? Because we talk about culture change from a political class that does not respect the law, and it is a culture that has been there over and over again. When we see cabinet secretaries go out there, has been a culture that has continued in this country for a very long time. Again, election is a process, and it's a process that is backed by the rule of law. When we see all this happening in the face and the glare of Kenyans, how then do you speak of culture that needs to change when people, one would say, cabinet secretaries under UDA, right, government, are breaking the law? Doesn't that culture change need to start from the top?
Like I said, it is a willing buyer, willing seller. It is a responsibility of all stakeholders at the grassroots level, the political elite, the executive, and all arms of government. It is our responsibility as citizens of Kenya that there's something we must do. I just want to inform you, my brother, that I come from Homa Bay. And we know that the dominant tribe of Homa Bay is Luo, then Suba. Now, initially, before I joined UDA, I was elected in this city by ODM, and I had witnessed, the way politics changes in this nation is very interesting. People of my background, we had witnessed, regimes then that were widely supported by now majority of members who are in the leadership of the DCP, when children were shot in their houses, when members of my community and members of ODM then were pushing for reviews in the way the electoral bodies were being formed, on reforms also on IBC. And you know, the same people that were on the opposite side a few years ago are now the same people, speaking like the angels, that they never participated in the malpractices in the Republic. We have not forgotten. But that does not make anything that happened bad right. I think it is important that as a nation, first we must accept that we collectively have a problem. You know, there's nobody who is right here who should claim. The Rigiji is not supposed to, and his team, they're not supposed to come here now and tell us. I want to tell him and my brother here that the elections, the by-elections that happened, to my understanding, they met the constitutional threshold, and it is just important at times that you accept and move on, like Raila used to say, that accept and move on. You've been beaten hands down in your perceived stronghold in Mbere, and the one that you imagined you would take in Malava. Move on and re-strategize for 2027. Do not be a crybaby, DCP.
Why are you worried that 2027, with all that we've seen, that things are not headed in the right direction? Because we started from a point where IEBC and its formation, there was a hue and cry, because one would say IEBC is a negotiated political process for individuals who are there. I know how it stalled Kalonzo Musyoka going to courts because of one Kokimuli and the inclusion in that commission. And with the hope that IEBC would deliver, and you look at what has happened, violence that has happened, it acted fine. You look at cases of what you're saying, ballot stuffing. We have cases of cabinet secretaries campaigning. We have cases of individuals being beaten in Malava, and IEBC is quiet. If 2025, one say, is a litmus test of what is to come in 2027, should Kenyans be worried? And if Kenyans should be worried, then how do we then move to ensure that IEBC works for Kenyans?
One, we should be worried. That's a fact. We saw it. We saw it firsthand. So there's a lot of concern. And we are saying, you could see some places they went and everybody was satisfied. But in some places there was a lot of pressure from the executive. Or what we are saying, we cannot have an IEBC that listens, picks calls from the executive. That one we cannot allow. By the way, what will happen? You're asking a question then. What will happen? We are worried, yes. We are saying, as a united opposition, calm down. Let us bring facts on the table. Let IBC, if they cannot answer us, because they have not, let them answer the court. So finally, the judges, the courts, will lend a verdict of, this is what you did wrong. If it's nullification of some of these things, will be nullified, so that people can learn that tomorrow, if you go the same direction, they'll be nullified. That's number one. Thank God we are not like our neighbors that he likes referring to. Thank God we have a progressive constitution, and we know where we can go to. And by the way, this story of our neighbors is not a very good thing to say here, because we seem to be the ones coaching our neighbors how to do things procedurally. Unless people kill people, go and charge them with treason, the way we did here with anti-terrorism, there with treason. That's not a very good example, by the way. There are people who think that they can manipulate and kill everybody else, the opposition, so they can win. That's a very bad example. We don't want to compare ourselves with Tanzania or Uganda or Kagame or something like that, because we seem either we are the one coaching them or we are reading a lot from them. But now, the answer is we want very quickly, in the next few weeks or months, to confirm to the world who is IBC and how they are. And there's one thing we said here. We want to eat up a few of them legally. The few people who will be found to hold the highest responsibility in bungling these elections, I can tell you they are going home. They are going home, clean it up. We will not be so fear that, if you bungle IBC, it will not be, let it prepare. We better deal with IBC now, other than later.
Do you think, and I have to ask this quickly because the time is actually spiraling quickly, but if there had been an inverted result, if the candidates that you backed had won, but we still saw the violence in other places, would you be demanding an audit of IEBC in this manner?
Thank you very much. I would request the other people who felt aggrieved to go to court, because here we are working to strengthen systems, right? We are working to get the best arbiter going to 2027. The way we are, the way what we did, for example, if there's found that there is any voter, for example, out of Mbere, who voted, that alone, if we find, if we find, they are too big, those are things we are saying, we'll bring them up. So, if, for example, we won, Like now we won in Kariobangi, we won in Narok. There are people who felt maybe there was some violence that could have resorted to some unfair advantage to us. Let them go to court so that we can check the integrity of the IBC. But as I finish, I want to say this on record. On behalf of our party, we reject in total this late coming, clarification by National Police Service concerning Kariobangi. Late night, you saw it at around 10, saying, this is what happened. We reject that statement. That statement was authored by some senior advisors in the State House. Later, they wrote something. So then they were like, nobody has said anything. National Police Service, please do something of issue. We reject that statement. We know that the intention was to corroborate and make sure the church service does not continue because the Rigathi Gachagua was there. We reject those kind of late coming kind of apologies and all that and clarifications. What we know is that there is a lot of fear. The system is fearing the one-term movement because you cannot fight against a movement. You cannot, remember, the president is a man of narratives. So he likes creating a slogan, like hustler and all that, and then moves him. From 2013, it was, Raila, Mutialeli, Mutianini. Now, he is facing up against a movement. He cannot touch one person to fight against. That's the biggest fear we have right now.
Okay.
So all these wins about MP, him deep inside, the fear is real about one time and Kasongo was go.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have 30 seconds this year.
Thank you. My good brother here, I want you to report back to your party leader, my good friend Rigiji, that the statement that he made yesterday, that, Nairobi belongs to the Mount Kenya, in this case Kikuyu community.
No, DCP. He never mentioned Kikuyu. He never mentioned Mount Kenya.
He said that is members of the community and the taxpayers and the property owners who own Nairobi, they are going to sweep all the seats. That was somebody of his stature. But anyway, we don't expect more because that has been his standard of isolating other members of the republic. I just want you to report back to him, if he's listening, that in Nairobi, this is the capital city of Kenya, where the rule of law is going to carry the day. And we are equally stakeholders of this city. We are going to participate and push and make sure that right Kenyans, irrespective of their political affiliation, religious affiliation, and tribal background, they are going to be elected.
For clarity. Please, for clarity, because this is important. Please. The same Rigathi Gachagua yesterday pointed to a Maasai from Narok and said DCP supported another community. We didn't have a Kikuyu vine in Kisa East. It was a Luya, for clarity's sake. So when he never meant a Kikuyu vine, he said DCP.
Okay.
So what is going to happen? We are going to have members who will vie on DCP, just like it happened in Narok and Kisa.
Okay.
So please. Just for record.
This is obviously a conversation that Kenyans listen to, and then Kenyans will then be able to use it and engage at the end of the day. We've looked at ballot 2025. Kennedy Obuya is the chairman. UDA Homa Bay has joined us this morning with Dr. Peter Mbai, who is Secretary of Planning and Economic Affairs, DCP. Thank you both for being here. It's all a watch and see. Let's watch and see at 8:03. Good morning.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Chairperson Erastus at the corner has been accused of allegedly remaining silent despite allegations of vote rigging during the November 27th by-election. Speaking in Mukuni, Machakos County, Kaiti MP Joshua Kimili insists that the results of the Mbere North and Malava by-elections were marred by vote rigging. He has questioned the integrity of the IBC, urging Kenyans to be vigilant come the 2027 general elections.
Tunataka kusema kwa nini chairman wa IBC hajaongea kuhusu uchaguzi. Tumeona vile walifanya Mbeere huko, tumeona vile wamefanya huko Malaba, tumeona na tunajua wanafanya hivyo, wanatumia all the resources na wanaiba kura zetu. Tunataka tuone IBC wakikomenda wakiongea kuhusu hiyo. Kama si hivyo, tunataka kuambia Wakenya wote 2027 tumobilize wananchi, ni wao watachunga kura. Tutahakikisha every polling station tuko na wananchi more than 200 wachunge kura, kwa sababu hatutakubali kuibiwa kura. Na your excellency and your team, we are behind you and we will make sure that we will protect our votes.
The Teacher Service Commission has requested the submission of teachers' medical records as part of the transition of medical services to the Social Health Authority. In a letter, TSC directed Minet to release detailed medical information on teachers and their dependents within set timelines. This is in preparation for the migration that's meant to start today of the teachers' insurance policy. The directives followed a meeting between TSC, SHA and Minet held at the Commission Secretary's boardroom, where the three parties agreed that all patient data to be transferred to guarantee continued seamless healthcare services once SHA fully takes over management. TSC asked Minet to submit a chronic illness register by November 29th, 2025, while all other records were to be submitted by November 30th this year. The requested records include maternity cases in progress, a list of all local inpatient cases, a register of all ongoing international treatments, IVF cases, biometric data of all teachers and their dependents and those scheduled for overseas treatment. More than 400,000 teachers are expected to migrate their insurance cover from Minet to SHA, a move that officials say will bring improved medical benefits while in service. That's the Newswire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
One of the things that are ailing our country is negative ethnicity. You find you as a state officer, instead of thinking as a Kenyan, you think like a tribal person.
Let me tell you something. The biggest problem we have had in this country is a leadership deficit. There is nothing that you are going to do in the process of change if you are not a risk taker. So you really have to pursue your vision to a logical conclusion and even be ready to step on people's toes.
When it comes to the economy, you can run away with it. They say statistics are like bikinis. They reveal a lot, but they conceal the vitals. And so government people would throw statistics at you and tell you they're revealing a lot of information to you, but it's really concealing the real vitals.
We need to get out of that, because when we want to grow our democracy, one basic thing that really requires to be understood by the political class, by all of us, is institutions are critical.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
I've got a plan to make my investment portfolio more diverse than a DJ's vinyl collection.
ICEA Lion has a plan for everyone. Talk to us today for a plan that's right for you. Or visit icealion.co.ke. ICEA Lion, what's your plan?
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
And here we are. It is 9 minutes after 8 o'clock. And we continue with our conversations this morning. Where are you and where do you find yourself as you come towards the end of the year? It's the 1st of December. And I know that we're getting into the festive season proper. So you want to ask yourself a certain question. What are you going to be doing with it? Well, let me tell you something. Naivas is not keeping anything back when it comes to what you will then be able to do over the festive period and how we'll then be able to celebrate Kwetu style. So you're asking me, what is it? Okay, well, here we go. That you don't even have to think about it. Drop everything that you're doing right now. This is the official final call from Naivas, the biggest savings event of the year. Black November is entering into its final stretch. The time is now to save up to 60% off across nearly every single category: electronics, fresh food, kitchenware, daily accessories, daily essentials, and more. We're talking about massive, unbeatable prices. We're giving away from iron boxes to toasters, blenders and heaters every week. And the big ones, 45 motorcycles and 6 vehicles, brand new ones, plus TVs, fridges, cookers, and more. It's so simple. What do you need to do? Register for the loyalty card, do your shopping, and if you win, the winning message will be printed on your receipt the moment you pay. So nothing like next week or come next month. No. Hapo, instant wins. That's what we're doing this festive season with Naivas. The festive season, take advantage of the Lipa Pole Pole as well, or the convenient buy now, pay later option. And you can also use Faraja on M-Pesa for 0 interest installments. Shop more, stress less. And that's the Naivas way. Now, before I go, here's some hype. The icon is returning. That guy, get ready, because the one, the only, the Naivas Kikwetu legendary Mbuzi is coming soon. Keep it locked on SpiceFM, The Drive with CEO, for more details. Shop smart and stay tuned with Naivas. Naivas saves you money. And we also want to watch TV, and we want to be able to stream, and we want to listen to our music. We want to stay connected. You know how we're going to do that.
Now, let me give you a story.
Okay.
You can imagine a situation where you're enjoying this game, assuming you are an Arsenal fan, yeah? You're playing against PSG, Paris Saint-Germain, you know? And then just as that goal is about to be scored, internet does that thing, you know? We usually call it a missed call. It just keeps going round and round and round, you know? And a few minutes later, you hear everybody speak about how the game was, but you can't contribute because you missed out. Fear of missing out is real, you know, but that means you did not have a reliable partner in terms of giving you an internet that is stable and convenient for you. But there is Airtel. Airtel comes in to assure you of that you don't have to miss out. You have to, like, they're giving you an opportunity to be part of the entire process, you know? So you want to enjoy your streaming, they're there to ensure that you get it. And here, they have what we call the unlimited fun bundle, right? And this unlimited fun bundle, so you talk about an hour, 19 bob, you're good to go. You talk about 3 hours, 45 shillings, and you're good to go. And these you get to buy when you need it. So you want to upload heavy content, you are, hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. You want to do that, you just buy your bundle at that particular point and you upload, and you get to enjoy all these at the touch of your button. How do you get it? *544# or use my Airtel app. And if you are not on Airtel, just grab a SIM card from the nearest Airtel shop, because honestly, with happy hour bundles, no one should be dealing with fear of missing out. How again? Dial *544# or go to my Airtel and get it anytime.
Fantastic. And finally, where are you going this Christmas? You need to go down to the Sarit Center. Feast, shop, and jingle at Sarit this festive season, because from the 28th, which is a couple of days ago, well through to the 24th of December, you can enjoy daily festive activities, including meet and greet with Mr. and Mrs. Santa. Have you ever seen that the Mrs. Santa look
that
like?
I want to see.
This one you have to see. Photo moments with the elves at Christmas, and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with fun appearances by him. Surprise encounters with the Grinch. All the characters of Christmas will be at Sarit this festive season, and you will enjoy festive choral performances. You can spin the wheel for instant prizes, and you can earn points as you shop with your Sarit loyalty app. So shop unique African gifts at the Masai Market every Wednesday and Thursday, and experience festive cheer and magical moments all season long only at Sarit. So there's something for you to do this entire festive season, and we'll be giving you all the information as we do right here on the Situation Room on Spice FM. And even as all of that happens, we continue with conversations that we need to right here on the Situation Room. Joining us this morning is Kabando Wakabando, and we're looking at the state of the nation. Kabando, good morning.
Good morning to you all.
How are we doing?
We are doing okay.
Good to see you here.
Life is rich, so we are happy for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can take advantage and make the most of the situation, can't you?
Absolutely.
But it's necessary for us to look into the situation and say what it actually does look like. We're going to get into that in just a little bit, looking into the state of the nation. But Dennis wants to welcome you with today's proverb for your interpretation.
So the proverb comes from a game reserve in South Africa, Madikiwe Game Reserve. And here there is a quote that they say, "A roaring lion kills no game." A roaring lion kills no game. How would you interpret that?
Rolling as the
roaring.
Rolling as the R-O.
R-O-A-R.
Yeah.
Rolling lion
kills no game.
That's
Simba na nguruma.
Yes.
Hapati nyama.
Hapati nyama. It's like still waters run deep. That if you are not smart, then you don't get your goal. Yes, because if the Simba is grooming, it means that it's scaring away the prey. Yes. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. I love the way the human mind works, because we would imagine that if you're roaring, that you don't have time to open your mouth, right? That rather you don't have time to do the thing with your mouth. But in this case, if you're roaring, you're chasing away the prey.
Is an equivalent of it.
Wow.
Is equivalent of it that an antelope hit the announcer if you shout at it more than the hunter. Yes.
Wow.
Which is an advice to the hunter.
The hunter, yeah.
That you shouldn't shout when you are nearing the hideout of the antelope. You need to be discreet. You need to be quiet
and camouflage.
And camouflage. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Yeah.
So this is interesting, because a couple of weeks ago, the State of the Nation address was given in Parliament by the President.
Yes.
And thereafter, he's been on quite, this agenda of moving Kenya economically has been on his lips everywhere he's gone over the last 2 weeks. And that we saw that there was the launch of the Mau Summit, Nakuru, that whole stretch of road, Narok. Road, and he reiterated that. He was in church yesterday and said it again, that this thing, so we start to believe that this is actually something that he believes. And I believe it was the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Gladys Bosche, said, you know what he has done is that he has given Kenyans the opportunity to dream that these things can actually be. That Kenya can actually be a developed nation, and all of these things that they're doing to put them in place is actually towards that goal. The state of the nation, according to what he's saying, is that to achieve that goal, he has put in the necessary pegs for these things to happen. I'm hazarding a guess here that, Kabando, you don't agree.
Let me start by thanking you very much for inviting me again to Spice. We have missed the space, and I'm very glad to have this opportunity. As I have said before, it's a very reputable channel.
Thank you.
And I bring greetings to those that saw the poster yesterday. Very many of them sending even text now, asking that I pass their greetings individually, but I say hello. It's good that the proverb from South Africa was about a lion. There is also the saying that a tiger doesn't pronounce its tigritude. It just pounces. It just takes action.
Yep.
The big wars that you have seen in the world, whether it's political liberations, whether about economic transformations, are mostly not about words or speeches, are about serious visions that were executed by serious individuals, by icons, actions. In Nairobi, one of the legacies of gallant fight is Uhuru Park and Kalura Forest. Did we see just statements from Professor Wangari Maathai and the Green Belt movement? No, we saw actions. All right? I'm just reading here the life as a leader spokesman from Salim Lone. And when you read through this stuff in the Standard today, you see actions that were done behind the scenes, and then you saw results at the front. Sometimes even, often actually, a pronouncement made through the right individuals in order to communicate to that. Now, let me give you another example of South Africa and Kenya. Did the Mau Mau just go and make announcements in the trading centers? Did the African National Congress of Oliver Tambo and Mandela go make announcements, or did they go to organize and even went to exiles and even converse among world leaders in order for them to get the global recognition and the local support to fight against apartheid? Did Jomo Kenyatta give many speeches about Kenyatta International Conference Center, KICC? Did Kibaki give many speeches about the free primary education?
Just did it.
It was just a statement among the first 100 days, we shall do that. And the next thing we saw is an 80-year-old Kimani Maruge being in a classroom to enjoy the free primary education. Megalomania in politics, where you get obsessed with convincing people, repeating threats and reciting examples, trying to validate yourself, shows inadequacy. And therefore, the State of the Nation address by the President, agreeable to very many people, even those who are in a so-called broad-based government, is that even those who are from northern, from northern part of the country who are really supporting him, is that it was largely hollow treatise to gratify self and make yourself heard by people, and it is more about the next general election than a government making a government report card of what is being organized. So even when you talk about the Mau Narok road and so on, or the extension of SGR, just put it in the budget. Let's see the action on the launch of the project. And let the stakeholders start appreciating it as it is rolling out as a snake to Malamba.
You know, Kabando, yes. When you listen to the State of the Nation address and the report card that you talk about, one would say the best person to give you the results of that report card would be the Mwananchi. Because every other policy that is put in place, when you talk about taxation, when you talk about roads being built, when you talk about incentives that are given to anyone, person who enjoys that is the Mwananchi.
True.
You know, and I've had a lot being discussed in terms of macroeconomy and microeconomy. Big words, fine. And in the macro level, fine. Multinationals are saying, fine, Kenya is headed in the right direction. IMFs are clapping, saying Kenya is doing well. But at the micro, Mwananchi at the grassroots level does not feel it because taxes are high. You know, they're unable to take their sick to hospital. They're unable to afford food on the table. They're unable to take their children to school. And when you look at the State of the Nation address, it is beautiful. But Mwananchi will tell you, because at the end of the day, the policies are implemented by them. But Mwananchi says, apana, those are just stories.
Exactly. The consumer, you know, you can do the promo, but the consumer will give you the feedback. Okay? There's nothing as useful, more useful than getting a report card in a restaurant. Somebody giving you feedback, not just about the tip you give, about I have enjoyed your food, your service is very good. In hospitality industry, the employees and the owners appreciate it more when they get voluntary feedback that what you have offered in terms of cleanliness, in terms of hygiene, in terms of your menu is very good. So that goes a long way, even in making a judgment at the end of the year of the employee of the year award, or even the manager of the year award. And it is happening in every industry. So mid-term, a government should be enjoying more when the consumers, the citizenry, are appreciating voluntarily. But when you find that you have to use money, use security forces to compel people to attend your rallies, when you are mobilizing chiefs in uniform to attend church, wherever you go, you have hundreds in that whole county. All the assistant chiefs and chiefs, the county commissioners and their administrators, the policemen in uniform are mobilized to go to church. It exposes insufficiency. There's something missing that you want to compel. Okay? So, and it should worry us that what has just happened even last week, as you have seen, and what happened even yesterday, I know you may have discussed this before, that we are still mobilizing the holoi polloi, those that are suppressed, those who are going through serious economic challenges, to do battle for us. And there isn't an election until 20 months away. It shows that there is a lack of confidence in yourself, in the product that you're offering. If you have to mobilize a whole machinery of state, even those who have never done this, to camp in villages in order to amplify your message, yet you have just given a state of nation unrest. If there are so many media, particularly now you have a diversity of media, mainstream media, social media, people are receiving information about what you have done, but you have to pump it to people. You have to flash instead of waiting people to hear or watch on the screen. You are splashing it on their face. It's like water. You want somebody to feel that has water in the face by splashing it. It's different. So we are living in different circumstances.
And yet, Kabando, I think you've been quite vocal in terms of what you feel about this. And it is interesting because you come from a position of being a member of parliament previously, where you more or less said many of the same things, but now on an amplified level, that you talk about the thievery and the corruption in government. You talk about the fact that unless those things come to an end, we will not see a clear path or a clear way. Is that the case from where you are today?
Let me say even before, I can give an example. I was privileged to be in the Grad Coalition government, of which I told you I'm reading about this very fascinating story from Raila's spokesman then and a friend, Salim Lone. We used to come as a group, and I remember 3 instances. First is when there was a reconstitution of the EACC, and we defied Mwai Kibaki.
Right.
Our leader then was the chairman of the Committee of Legal Affairs, Abdulkadir Mohammed, the senior counsel. We refused to endorse the choice of the Grad Coalition government, and some of us were assistant ministers in that government. Then there was the feasibility study of LAPSET, which was really a leap-off. I remember even Kibaki's nephew now is chairman of KRA, Governor Derito Morezi. We came and they even wrote articles and joined forces with the likes of Dr. Kelemi Mweria and formed a quartet of parliamentarians opposing that. I think I mentioned this some time ago. There was a time vernacular stations of my community were mobilized to fight those of us in Parliament under Uhuru presidency who are supporting Johnny Badi's amendment on VAT. And they were mobilized from Kameme to Inoro and all that. I'm sorry to mention them, to fight us. And it happened the same when we came out to demand for the resignation of Anne Waiguru, now the governor of Kirinyaga, because of the NIS scandal. So, and many other instances, let me not visit there. Though there is a limitation when you are incumbent, when you are serving within a party and you're within the system, you cannot say as much as when you are free. So I find myself and other find when you're out of the system. You have inhibitions of and the trappings of power. Ikabese has his own censorship by way of you are part of the train. You cannot be jumping out. Currently, I think we are very many and people are very many. And why Ruto is being questioned more, perhaps more than any other president, is first of all, himself has never got off the top of the car roof. Since he was elected, he has never sat to work. And I mean to work, to allow even your cabinet to be feeding you. Yeah, it's like there's no cabinet in Kenya. It is the president speaking about health, about education, about agriculture, about everything. And campaigning and calling his opponents names and fighting even the lowly people, not just his level of people. So in terms of statesmanship and statecraft, it makes people come more and more out because the king is naked and vulnerable. Yeah, so... And it's going to be more. And he's even fighting with children. You see, he's the first president to fight with children.
You know, the Singaporean dream has been told to us. We need to get to develop status, you know. We are working very hard to get there. And as the dream is there and Kenyans are hopeful to get there, there are very many things that need to be handled. It can't be that we're talking about heading to Singapore, yet here we have ghost schools. We have 1.5 billion shillings that is lost. When you read it deeper, you find out it's not actually 1.5, it is 7 billion shillings that would be lost if those who if the pending bills on these scam would be paid. And we talk about corruption cases in government. You know, you talk about the disrespect of the law of the country, the disregard to the constitution. And one asks the question, how exactly do we have that first world or developed status if we are not fixing the things that are derailing us? If we are the ones who are busy pushing the agenda that is derailing us behind?
One thing that is not being said and should be said is that though this is currently, as we have said, is a Ruto presidency problem, there is also a continuation of the past rot. A lot of individuals, and I dare say this, a lot of individuals who are very dirty in the Uhuru administration have quietly been recruited in the Ruto administration. Some of them in the senior positions they appointed in a senior level in the bureaucracy, and very many are being given positions quietly in the state corporations and in the consultancy. People who are very, very inside, people who perpetrated the immediate past regime rot and inertia are within. Now, that complicates our situation, because it is an alliance of merchants of impunity that is emerging, and that many may not be seeing it directly. It may be dangerous to mention individuals adversely because, you know, will be said we are prejudicing. But I know people who are very influential within the Uhuru administration, not just those that are being in the cabinet or those who are being recruited to be in the parastatals. Even in the private sector, where Ruto has influence or interest, in order to get the old loot, people who would be facing trials in the court for impunity and for corruption between 2013 and 2022 are now comfortable because they are now allied and their cases have been forgiven. Remember the calls for a commission on state capture inquiry. It can't happen because the owners of the criminal enterprise that captured the previous administration. And I say previous administration, I will not go beyond 2013 because with it, to him. And Moi Kibaki, even his closest friends, some of them, and I know like 2 of them, died while their cases were still ongoing. Cases of corruption, and they were in his cabinet. At least when it came to issue of now you have been caught with your fingers in the cookie jar, Kibaki will lay his hands off and let you face. Even in parliament, we impeached some ministers, not 1, but 2. And actually there was even another 2 others who even resigned between 2008 and 2012. But in this administration, just like in the previous, Ruto, nothing of the kind is happening. And therefore, the claim to go to Singapore. How can you compare Ruto with Lee Kuan Yew? Lee Kuan Yew was a man of integrity. He's a man who sacrificed even his family convenience so that even his own children, he insisted they have to grow in his own private residence. He's a man who would arrest a minister at the airport. Is a man who would insist on the sovereign will and integrity of the institutions. To compare William Ruto and Lee Kuan Yew is actually to insult the intelligence of even a child who is learning A, B, C, D.
Kabanda, I hear you speak in terms of the continuation of the rot that has existed.
Yeah.
And that points to the fact that we know where the problem is. We know who the problem is, but we choose not to deal with that problem because if we put them closer to us, we are able to continue with the bad manners that has existed over time. That means if Kenya is to be a developed nation, we know exactly what we need to deal with. We just choose not to.
You know, in the end, we also say people get the leaders they deserve. Because those leaders, though they could have manipulated results, were largely supported, and they have had the constitutional mandate to rule, and the institutions of governance, including the judiciary, interrogated the processes. As much as we may disagree with them, they made the jury, was the verdict was by that process that we have put. So what do? It's just to let Kenyans, for instance, yesterday I shared a video of a YouTuber who was sending a message to a certain region in this country and telling them, stop blaming the Bere people for the decisions they made last time. We know the situation of Bere people. We know what has happened. Some people are not explaining that Bele is a very unique area and that particular Bere North is very unique in terms of by-elections. It is perhaps the only constituency in Kenya that has done 3 by-elections since multi-party. And then you are blaming them for maybe making a decision which was more caused by clanism and, of course, the state legislature and the money that were poured there. But what are ourselves doing? And what did we do 3 years ago? You know? I know I mentioned last time I came here a term we call mokofio in my community now. Yeah. Mokofio, where you are walking from the village to village, mokofio, stamping your feet as you are rushing to the MCA, to another MCA, the MP, the governor, the president, and you close shop for 2 months in the villages in order to go to receive handouts. You leave your cow without feed, and you don't even milk. You leave your chicken still in the cage because you are chasing handouts from the politician because of campaigns. So it is we cannot blame the constitution. We can blame ourselves, but also sometimes, as we say, people get the leaders they deserve. Our democratic process in terms of the new disposition is still nascent. We are still young. It's only since 2013 we had this constitution being implemented and devolution being implemented. So the call for change may require more than the instrument of governance and the constitutional tools that are provided for us to process our own sovereign will. It may require emergence of new leadership. And that's why people are very excited last year when the Gen Zs came out, and you could hear parents and even grandparents saying, really, our savior will be the young people. There's a very young people that are not coming out in large numbers to vote. A lull before a storm. You know, people should ask, how come young people who want this radical change, who want urgent transformation of the Republic of Kenya, are not rushing in queues to register as voters? It may indicate non-confidence with the electoral process, and that may be dangerous for the country, because eventually it may mean that they are inspired more by what is happening in Guinea-Bissau and in Burkina Faso and in those other countries, which may portend a serious question that is a time bomb in the time to come.
So, we asked the question, Kabando, that, what must be done? And I look at the by-elections that took place last week, which for all intents and purposes served as a litmus test in terms of what was going to happen, a dress rehearsal of the future. That before that, there has been a lot of chest thumping, there has been a lot of resolve to say, okay, this is what we must do. And then there were many questions about why didn't we see a heavy movement even during these by-elections as to what the move would be. Is it possible that there's silent watching to say, okay, we can see how this game is being played so that we then know what we must do come the next opportunity to make a change? Because for all intents and purposes, in a democratic space, the time where you can make a change, the time where you can actually do something that your collective thought has been putting together all this time is at the ballot in a democratic space. So is that what we're waiting for? Is that what Kenya is waiting for, to say, okay, all the things that we've seen, all the thoughts that have been put together, all the injustices that you imagined would have happened, that the time to right all of that is to take a step forward is at the next election? Is that the time, or is there some in between? What needs to happen?
In fact, let me if we go by elections, the incidences that happened in Malava and Bere North just confirm, even as some of us have said, we accept, it is still a baby step in our democratic growth. But if you go by what happened on the ground, because we have the reports, we have the videos, we have the testimonies, is that IBC will not do an election. Let's Kenyans resign to that. This IBC will not do an election, and I'm not predicting the untoward.
What will they do if they don't do an election?
There will be something that will happen in this country, and I'm sorry to say this. I'm sorry to say that something else will happen to this country, because people will not accept what happened in Malava or Bere. Because it was terrorism. People are being smoked from houses. There are many people in hospital. People have just gone quiet. Even the United Opposition that gave a statement, there are many details that have not been exposed. Even the petition that is going to be taken to court today to try to stop what happened in Malava and Bere North, to be a verdict that will go for another 2 years, supposedly for people who have been newly elected. Can you imagine, let's say, you are assumed innocent until proven guilty. But you had your own headline here in the Standard, giving a name of a candidate who changed names recently after scamming Kenyatta National Hospital oxygen project nearly 700 million. That is, of course, a question of integrity, which EACC did not object to, which IBC did not object to. But of course, that can be, people can excuse and say we had the Luka cases and many other cases, and therefore even the ICC cases in 2013 of Uhuru and Ruto. But now come to the terrorism in the villages. The open bribery the ungas, the mattresses, the cash handouts, that are all videoed. If we had an IBC with the merit and decency and legitimacy, those candidates would have been voided and they would have been withdrawn as a way of the new IBC making a departure from what we have seen in the past. But remember, it's just as I said, a perpetration. The people who are in government today know where Chris Musanda went. They also knew other returning officers who were killed. Nobody talks about those issues. And the restlessness and the uprising, the non-violent, patriotic, gallant demonstrations, the protests you saw in Kenya last year, the abductions and the kidnappings, the killings, has that generation evaporated? It is still in this country. Do you think they are sitting just like that, seeing the election being frauded, seeing a shambolic process by ABC?
And just sitting quiet.
And they are just sitting quiet. And also look at what happened yesterday in Kariobangi North, in the church. These are goons who are being... The easiest thing today in Nairobi today is to hire guns. If I have only 5,000 shillings, I'll have 500 people in the streets because of 100 shillings. The unemployment, the joblessness, has brought despair. And if there's something that is dangerous in a country that has massive number of young people without formal occupations, without any aspirations, is when you have lost hope. You know, when people have hope, even if they are poor, even if they are hungry, they keep with the hope that there will be a tomorrow.
So, Kabalo, if people watch the process, for example, from what you're saying, because it's not possible, it isn't possible that the uprising that we saw, the protesting that we saw in 2024 has just gone dead and buried. That it's not possible that those emotions towards an action in the hearts and minds of Kenyans, in their hundreds of thousands, went to bed and died. Not possible. And if we're seeing that this is being watched and saying, okay, this is where we are as a nation, if I'm to push that a little bit further with you, essentially what you're saying is that when we ask, okay, so what next? What you're essentially saying is that Kenyans are not going to accept this kind of thing anymore. That's the what next.
You know, let me say two things. Number one, on the ground, I am from Njeri. I'm near Tomotomo. After the Church of the Torch in Kikuyu, the PCA stopped in Tomotomo before proceeding to Chuka. All right? So, I come from that bastion.
Right.
Omutaratara, the PCA church from Scotland. And not once, not twice, not thrice, latest being yesterday, goons and the security officers, unleashed by the state, went to tear gas a congregation. The word going on the ground is that President Ruto is fighting the PCA church. And the PCA church is dominantly in that part of the country.
Why would he do that?
Why would he do that? It's only for him who can explain. But the point is that is the word on the ground, that William Ruto is fighting the PCA church. And the PCA church is dominant in a particular part of this country. You can say it is ethnic bigotry or call it even a prejudice, but that is whatever. Otherwise, how would you explain? Which Catholic church have been tear gassed? Which AIC church has been tear gassed? And politicians have been going there. You can't say it's just because Rigathi Gachagua is attending those churches. So the burden of proof that he's not fighting the PCA church is on William Ruto. And people should not say that he just hated by his critics like that. You know, Ruto should know that he has a big burden since 2007 post-election violence. And he has been attending churches everywhere. giving millions, and I blame my community, and I blame our people, and I blame, of course, the whole country. I blame ourselves, because even at certain time, maybe I have supported him when he was the deputy president, when we were there in the Huruto administration. But can the big question be asked today? KAG Church in Kiaba, in Eldoret, is in Ruto's constituency. Has he never found even 5 shillings or 10 shillings to go and rebuild that church where children were burnt alive, where mothers were burnt alive, where children were being rescued, they were being raided again and thrown back to the church? I want to have this question and ask it in Spice FM today. Why is William Ruto getting money all his life to go to churches in Nyamweya, churches in Njeri, churches in Taita, but he has never found any 5 shillings? He can give 20 million. He can go give a certain chapel here 100 million. The other day he gave in Ukabani another 50 million in a church, but he has never given 5 shillings to reconstruct a church that was cited internationally as the greatest shame of political intolerance, where people were fought. Even when we fought in Moi, when we were in the University of Nairobi and we were working with Wangari Maathai for the mothers, with the mothers of political prisoners at Uhuru Park, we spent months in the bunkers of Osin Kadinduru, hosted by Provost Peter Jenga, the provost of Kadinduru then. The police tried to come nearby, even during Moi time. But to go and fight them in the bunkers, the church was always the sanctuary. What is happening today is what happened in 1994 in Rwanda. You need to read a book by Philip Goverechi, the New York Times bestseller. The book titled, "We Wish to Inform You That Tomorrow Will Be Killed Together with Our Families." Yes. Where people in Rwanda were killed inside the church. And we had 1 million people, even as UN and other bodies, still watched as the vanquishing and the killings were happening. What is happening with the church today? Because we fear the church. Even as politicians, when you go to the village, sometimes we are aggressed by pastors, but we are unable sometimes to even answer them. Sometimes even a reverend, a pastor, a bishop can say certain things that the congregation is not agreeing with. And because you're inside the church, you keep quiet, you talk when you're out of the church. Now we are not only doing or imagining that being done, it is tear gassing this time, another time with impunity. What is happening? And I want to ask, where is Mungiki? The last time I found Maina Jenga was working with Ruto. And the last time I found he was disrupting Pastor Dokas regarding his meeting in Njeri. I want to say today that we feel and we think and we suspect and we believe that the attacks on the church is a perpetration to prepare Kenyans to accept the impunity of the state, so that we are not only being raided from our homes, like the Gen Zs who are being drawn from their apartment and from their college rooms, that if 2027 comes, the state shall unleash untold atrocity, and we shall not hide in the church.
Do you think this is going to happen in 2027?
I'm telling you, if things are going the way they are going, the atrocity by the state against the church, their alliance with the infamous Mugiki that terrorized our people everywhere, did uncultural things, did criminal things. There is an alliance that is happening. These goons you are fighting in Kariobangi and other places, actually an alliance between Ruto and the criminal gangs, and I want to dare say most of them from my community, the Agego people. But we are saying it's the duty and obligation is on us, politicians, to come out, speak boldly, tell Ruto stop, and also admonish our neighbors, our brothers, and our sisters who are practicing the politics of chicanery, who are being puppeteered to do certain things because of gluttony. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that the greatest tragedy in Kenya today is gluttony of individuals. even the richest. I know people who, because of certain things, are not even talking to their relatives or not talking to their friends, and they are the owners of capital in this city because they are in bed and they are being appointed in certain organizations, in banks, in insurance companies, even in hospitals that are owned by the state, which are being used as conduit for the SHA money and for the so-called affordable housing money.
These are serious things.
I'm saying them because I'm saying these things, we have to start that conversation now and start saying these things as they are said. That I want to say, shame on you, you who has money, millionaire, billionaire, you wait money during Kibaki time, during Uhuru time, you thrived, and now you are with the Ruto administration and assisting in the looting of this country. It is all vanity. If your village mates are not comfortable, and if you cannot park your car in your trading center, and you cannot visit your relatives and leave your car on the roadside, you are not rich. Even if your children are going to schools in Dubai, are going to schools in Australia, in Canada, and you come here and give them the biggest of apartments, if they cannot visit from Karen, their relatives who are living in Umoja, if your children cannot come from Ruda and go to see their grandmother who is living in Buruburu, because on the eastern side of Uhuru Highway, there is crime, there is unsafe surroundings. If your children are gifted 20 million car on their wedding, and when they are graduating, they are gifted even a house, and they cannot walk from Serena Hotel to Uhuru Park to enjoy the serenity of the park within the Nairobi, capital of Kenya. Even if you make so much money from that Ruto looting spree, and you think you are ring fencing your life with so much affluence, is all vanity. If you cannot take an Uber, go to the only national park within a city in the whole world, Nairobi National Park, and walk around there from the Cine Park of museums at Museum Hill to Giraffe Center to National Park. Inside there, you mingle with the other people. If even in your private road drives with your family, you have to carry bodyguards and you have to have guns, one with yourself, the other one hidden in the car, you are just the poorest in the world. And it is the vanity of vanities.
Kabando, you speak.
So the message that I was giving, it may appear like, sometimes you can even be limited. I'm saying what is happening if people, I don't belong to a school of thought, and I disagree with my seniors who are saying, go eat Ruto money, then do the right thing. Yeah. We refuse to eat Moi money. That's how we live like that. Supposing Wangari mother agreed to eat Moi money, we will not be having Uhuru Park today. We will not be having Karura Forest today. Do you remember those young Luo men swimming on the pool of KICC in Mzee Kibaki took over, singing Marietu, Marietu, until Raphael Tuju, the Minister for Tourism, was compelled to fast-track the repossession of KICC as a national asset. I'm saying, when you tell people, go eat, it's a shameless. Like now, across, I know you know the story of Muranga, where an MP from Muranga was being blamed for giving beans that are not cooking well. It is not just in Muranga. Beans and rice. And I'm telling you, supposing today, somebody decided to poison a whole community, you just go spray those beans and that rice with the chemicals. What's the difference between that and the European companies that are supplying Africa with the pesticides that are making our soils and our plants poisonous and escalating the cancer scourge in Africa? So it's good that people start speaking, and those who are speaking, they should amplify, and we should say those things that have not been said. We should stop being diplomatic. Ruto is calling us our jinga. He is calling us names. We are telling him, go build Kiaba Church. Why are you fighting the PCA Church? You are fighting the Kikuyus and the Mbus and Merus, because that is where 99% of the PCA Church is. And then these people are captured on camera. But not a single one is arrested. They are captured on TV running these goons. None of them is being arrested. Then we have excuses from National Intelligence Service and the stupid statement by the National Police Service. When people lose confidence in the police service completely. Remember when we took over Rainbow Coalition in 2002? Do you remember public arresting policemen for taking traffic bribes? Of course, we failed after that to maintain the momentum. But now, I've said what I've said. And if you give me an opportunity another day, I'll add the volume.
There you go. It's as it is.
Yeah.
And there's little that can be added to that Kabando because this is where we are. This is the situation of things on the ground. And we often ask, what must we do next? And perhaps what we do next is speak up.
Yes.
As you've said, speak up.
Yes, and then blame ourselves. Let's not just blame one person. Of course, he carries the burden, the backstops of the presidency. But let us also, within our communities, within our congregations, start blaming. Like now, let me just say one last thing. I've seen since I declared that I want to run again for Nyeri Senate, my phone is now getting a lot of heat, and battery is finishing quickly. Not just quickly, 1,000% faster than before, because people think that whoever is running for public office is just Harambes. So people have their private badges, they think that whatever and all that. If we have that culture of making sure that we attack ourselves as politicians than just lamenting. So as it is now, if you want to make a difference in the next elections, even opposition must change game.
Absolutely. Because
what was happening in Iberia and Malava, we saw good campaign by the United Opposition in Bere by Rigathi Gachagua, and there in Malava by Natebea, Governor Natebea, and teams. But we have to change game and tell people, even that money you are taking is stolen from you. How do I tell you? Go eat the chicken that has been stolen from your neighbor, and then we shall jail the other person. We have to be ideologically clear and tell our population, our electorate, that whatever Ruto is doing is opposite of what we can offer. And we cannot even have negotiations that are not based on the constitution, and therefore even you as the voters must refuse this sort of a thing. Can you imagine an 80-year-old man lining up with a teenager of 15 years and the wife of his son, that is his daughter-in-law, they are pushing each other on lines in the queues because of unga, because of rice, because of 200 shillings. We have to criminalize gluttony, not just at the State House, but even from ourselves and within ourselves.
Indeed.
Yes, so thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you for being here this morning. We look forward to the next one, of course. And even as we wrap up that conversation, here we are having conversations about what you can do to make sure that you stay online, sir.
So when you talk about being online, right? So there is the fear of missing out. And here's a question where, so you're streaming, you're enjoying yourself, but then again, it goes off. So you can't really follow up even with your colleagues when they're having a discussion surrounding something. But here we have Airtel, who have come to tell you that we have all these problems sorted out. But how do you do that? Star 544 hash or go to your My Airtel app and buy these bundles. So we're talking about 1 hour at 19 shillings, and we talk about 3 hours at 45 shillings, and you're able to go through this. But we're not just having a discussion around you having this. What is that moment, right? That moment, fear of missing out that you have experienced in your life that you want to share with us. Talk to us on our socials. Tell us that moment that you want to talk about, fear of missing out when data let you down. And with that, you will have 3,000 shillings airtime. Christine will get in touch with you on our socials. Go texting. 3,000 shillings is up for grabs for you. Fear of missing out. Tumesema with Airtel is a thing of the past.
Absolutely. At 9:03, good morning.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
Good morning. This is the News Wire. I'm Leo Obaga. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen has called on parents from Marakwet to ensure that they take part in the upbringing of their children. Speaking in Elgeyo Marakwet, Murkomen said that most cases of insecurity have been experienced due to the lack of parents playing a key role of disciplining their children.
Lazima nyumba zetu sikuwe Sunday school kila siku, kila jioni, kila asubuhi. Hapo ndio tunaweza kuweka maadili mema katika watoto wetu. Mimi naamini kabisa, ukiona nimekuja kufanya harambee ya kanisa ni kwa sababu najua a church as an institution is a place where people can shape their children. And if their children are shaped to become good citizens, the country is going to benefit. The security of the nation will be safe. We will be able to fight drugs and alcohol abuse. Therefore, investing in the church is not in vain.
Murkomen has asked parents to ensure that during this long holiday they stay close to their children and interact with them as their friends.
Holidays hii watoto wamejaa hapa nyumbani, wanaachiliwa kama kuku. Hakuna mtu anajua walilala wapi, walilala wakifanya nini, wamelala na nani, wamekula nini ndio wakalala. So watoto wengine watakuwa wanakunywa bangi, pombe haramu, wanafanya unprotected sex, mambo mingi. Mwishowe hasara inakuja kwa the whole community because watoto wamekuwa wakubwa, hakuna kitu ya kuambiwa, na wewe ndio unalipa school fees. Mtu mwenye unalipia school fees na kulisha chakula anakuwa mkubwa kuliko wewe, namna gani? We must take charge.
Teachers can start accessing healthcare services under the new Social Health Authority cover as soon as today, according to the Teachers Service Commission. The Commission noted that all teacher records, including 320 who are currently admitted across 100 hospitals, have been successfully transferred to the SHA system to ensure uninterrupted medical services. TSE Acting CEO Evelyn Mitei emphasized that these patients will continue receiving treatment without disruption, while ongoing sensitization efforts are underway to guide all teachers on accessing and using the new system. And finally, police have opened investigations into the violent outbreak at Kariobangi North PCEA Church on Sunday, where rival groups of youth clashed during a Thanksgiving service attended by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. The incident occurred as the congregation celebrated the election of David Wanyoike as Kariobangi North MCA following the November 27th by-election. According to the National Police Service, 2 police officers on duty observed a group of rowdy youth armed with crude weapons attempting to force their way into the church and immediately called for reinforcement. Another group reportedly arrived seemingly to confront the fast, prompting police intervention to prevent further escalation. That's the News Wire. I'm Lea Ubaga.
94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
He is himself actually has admitted that he bribed members of parliament, so...
he admitted that he bribed members of parliament?
Well, when he said...
The government.
Yeah, when he said that he gave the 10 million was for what?
We're always quick to point faults in somebody else before you look at your own faults as a person.
If it was Kanu's day, hii amuka naye leo, ungekuwa umeenda bali sana hii. So and we must celebrate you.
There are 600 million people now globally estimated to be living with diabetes in the world. So it is a major health problem. It's the largest single disease rising pandemic that we're dealing with right now.
The Situation Room, Kenya's biggest conversation. The following takes place from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. every weekday on Spice FM.
presidency is fairly interesting in the sense that it will actually take us to a
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
It's 9 minutes after 9 o'clock, and this into the final hour of the Situation Room on this first day of December in the final month of 2025. We continue with our conversation this morning, and we're getting into one of enterprise. But before we do that, you want to make sure that we don't run out FOMO.
FOMO, fear of missing out. Yes. And you see, every other day, we're always chatting and communicating online, you know, because we have to make things run. We have to prepare for this show, you know. And that time you need a bundle that works for you. Now, here we're talking about Happy Hour Unlimited Fun Bundle. And with this, it comes with affordable prices. So we talk about 1 hour at 19 shillings, 3 hours at 45 shillings, and you just buy it and you use it. So here's a question where I want to have a meeting with you, Ndu. How do I make sure that I do not get cut off? I buy 3 hours because I know our meetings are usually long. So 3 hours, I buy that bundle, and I'm sure that we will have this communication uninterrupted. You get? And with that now, it is a question of how do you get this? So get yourself an Airtel SIM card if you are not already on Airtel, or go to *544#, or go to your My Airtel app, and you're able to get this bundle as well. But remember, even as we talk about that, which is this formal moment that you have experienced in your life, you know, and a time when you were chatting with your friends and internet left you. Talk to us on our social media platforms. Christine will get in touch with you, and the person with the best formal moment will get 3,000 shillings of airtime from Airtel.
All right, well, there it is, your former moment. Let us know what that is. 3,000 bob, did you say?
3,000 bob.
Okay, fantastic.
Airtime, yes.
3,000 shillings, and that's how you start off your festive period. It's now 10 minutes past 8 o'clock. We're getting into a conversation. I want to tell you about one person's story with Stanbic. Let's listen into that as we get into our conversation this hour at now 11 minutes past 9 o'clock. We'll play that and then be back in a bit.
I realized that the family business isn't just a job, but those early experiences gave me the foundation I needed to serve as a leader.
And that starts our conversation this morning at 12 minutes past 9 o'clock, where we have a conversation with Stanbic, and we're looking into what it actually takes to keep enterprises going. And joining us for that conversation to then being able to ferry us along our way is Florence Wanja, who's the regional head, East Africa Business and Commercial Banking with Stanbic, and she's with us this morning. It says Florence Wanja, but we're going to call you Wanja.
Yes, actually I prefer that.
You prefer Wanja?
Yes, I prefer Wanja.
Fantastic. Wanja, good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome to the Situation Room this morning. Making our enterprises thrive. Earlier this morning, we said, you know what? If you're selling juice out of your fridge and you're going to formalize that, you're running an enterprise. Yes. If you're selling tomatoes because you've harvested them from your farm, in August, and you're trying to make something, or you're selling poultry, you're running an enterprise.
Yes.
Just because you don't have an office with, a calendar and a picture of the president on the wall doesn't mean you're not running an enterprise. So to keep those going, that's the forms of conversation that we'll have this morning. So thank you for doing that with us. But even before we do that, Dennis wants to share today's proverb with you, and we're going to put you to work as though you don't have enough. And, we'd love to get your interpretation of it.
Okay.
So today we are in South Africa, Madikwe Game Reserve to be specific.
Yes.
And in this game reserve, there is a quote that is synonymous because they have lots of lions. But a lion has to eat. But a roaring lion kills no game. A roaring lion kills no game. How would you interpret that? What do you think people of Madikwe are saying?
I think what they're saying is that rolling is not enough. So the rolling lion needs to actually hunt to be able to kill game. So beyond what is on the surface, you really need to do the work. Yeah, that's my interpretation.
No, put well said. Well put.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so let's get into this morning. There are we're looking at how we can get enterprises to thrive, but we also know that SMEs, small and medium enterprises, and family-owned businesses are important to Kenya's economy. When we look at the economies of nations that have this developing, whether you like it or not, that conversation is going to be in here. We know that the economies are boosted by SMEs, that the world's economies thrive on the private sector, and how they've been able to build. They're all privately owned businesses that start with individuals like you and I. So if we look at that and look at that in the Kenyan space, or even through to the African space, why are they then so important? SMEs, mid-size, why are they so important to the Kenyan economy?
Yeah, so SMEs are important to Kenya's economy, and actually not just Kenya or the developing world, including developed world. So you find that SMEs contribute close to 70 to 80% of any economy's GDP. They also create employment. About 90% of all new jobs created come from SMEs. So they are actually the backbone of any economy. And for any economy to thrive, you need to have these enterprises, and the enterprises need to be supported. Now, taking it back to Kenya, I think it's more important in Kenya because SMEs create opportunities for young people. As I said, they create employment. And in a country where we still need to, build big enterprises, you find that most of the jobs that are going to young people are really being created by the SMEs. And they also create a lot of, they basically supply into the larger corporates. You find that most of the manufacturing entities, if you're looking at, say, for instance, anybody who is, say, processing food, they may be actually getting their produce from those small SMEs. I'll give an example, in dairy as an example. A small farmer who is running an enterprise, as you rightfully put it into, I have 2 cows. I actually get milk. This milk goes to a dairy processing entity. I am an SME, but that enterprise or that cooperative would not actually thrive if I wasn't actually supplying them with milk.
Right.
So it becomes very, very important, especially in a country like this where we are largely agricultural, and you find that most of the inputs for agricultural, entities actually come from these small enterprises.
So we look at small enterprises, like the example you've made of a dairy farmer and how they supply milk to these cooperatives. And you look at, most of the time, this is family-led. It is family-owned, And with this, you'd see there's a parent who's in here pushing that, and if they exit now, it is the next generation that takes this business up and continues to push it, which then speaks in terms of these family business and everybody being put inside to understand the mechanics of how this business works for continuity purposes. And one would look at how then do we ensure that this family has all the information they need so that the business is long term and not just here because Mzee is still around.
That's actually one of the biggest challenges we see with family-owned businesses. And maybe just for context, not all SMEs are family-owned businesses, and not all family-owned businesses are SMEs. Right. But there's an overlap. And maybe, Dennis, just to ask, how many SMEs family-owned businesses do you think go to the second generation, percentage-wise?
Let me say 10%.
A bit more. From first generation to second generation, we find that only 30%. Of enterprises actually transition to the second generation, meaning for every 10 enterprises, only 3 will successfully go to the next generation. The moment you go to the third generation, the ratio becomes less, 20%. The moment you go to the fourth generation, you're talking about 10%. And that's really what we as a bank are really looking to do in terms of just supporting family-owned businesses to ensure that they transition into the second, third, fourth generation. And the reason why this happens more often than not is very basic things. And the one thing I keep advising my customers, as a minimum, an enterprise needs to have a family constitution. And the family constitution is really a document, or let me say a structure, that gives a bit of a structure of many things that this enterprise needs to consider to be able to actually transition to the next generation. One is just in the family constitution, you define what your business is. Why do you exist? Why was this business established by Mzee? From there, you determine where you want this business to go to. How far do you want it to go? How far do you want it to grow? And then you also decide how the business will actually transition from Mzee to the next generation. So that's succession planning. So you have you clearly outlined the succession planning for that entity. Okay. You've clearly outlined employment policies. Who do you hire? Who do you not hire? You've outlined how you basically, fund that business. So where do you fund from your own resources? Do you go to banks to get capital? And that family constitution also defines how you resolve conflict. Because one of the biggest challenges that families face and why they don't transition into the next generation, sometimes it's conflict within the family. Sometimes it's that when the principal passes away or is no longer there's no clarity on who is supposed to take over that business and to run it. So that family constitution then gives a semblance of structure, and that is actually what will define whether that business will thrive or not.
Do you actually have conversations about if the folks who are left behind are actually interested in the thing in the first place? Because I often see that, this is just... it's very possible that you could have a patriarch or a matriarch running the business together. This is something they've decided.
Yes.
Then there's the assumption that their children want to do the same thing. So that could be something that comes in to stop a process or essentially over time kill the process.
Yes.
Number one. Number two, they've not had a conversation about this interest at some point to say, okay, guys, is this something that you want to do? It's fed you, it's educated you, it's given you something to live off on. Would you like to continue that? Or do we want to keep it modern? Because we also find that along the line, a business that started in the 70s, 80s, we expect it in the year 2025 to still run a certain way. Is this part of the constitution that you speak of, interest and then also modernization of commercial enterprises?
Yeah, indeed. And actually, a good and a well-run family-owned business will discuss all those things.
Okay.
And we've seen for entities that basically have been able to get into the second or third generation, you find a lot of this. I mean, you listen to the video that we just played. We are looking at people who are now third generation running these enterprises. And you'll find for the families that have been very successful in ensuring that transition happens, their children were involved in the business from a very young age. I've met clients who say they're third generation and they started coming into the family businesses when they were 12. When you're on holiday, you don't go to play outside with your friends and, just watching TV. You actually go to the family business and you're made to do little things. You're put at the reception, you're put, to go and arrange things at the back of the store. And that's how most of these businesses have created interest, even in the families, and the families have felt vested. But you can't keep your family out of the business for years and then expect that when they're, like 30 years in, that they'll develop an interest to be able to come and, play a big part in that family. So the family constitution or the family structure is what would help that family to define how they actually want to run that family who comes in. And in some instances, you find that you even have to define at what point your children come into the business. And I've seen, like, for instance, I'll give an example. A family-owned bank, as an example, can define in the constitution and say, for any of the second generation to come into the business, they need to have worked for 10 years in an independent bank before they come to take a senior role in the family-owned bank. So those structures are so important, and that's what will basically enable that enterprise to succeed.
We look at SMEs and how critical it is to the country's economy, and one would just critically pause, look at it, and hope that the government, seeing how important and critical this is to the economy, then there is need to partner with financial institutions, to just help in growing, advising all these SMEs. So in terms of working together in policies, and even you advising government on what needs to be done for these SMEs to continue growth. Where are we playing at as a country and even as a bank in terms of just advising government on the bolts and nuts that needs to be tightened?
We've seen the government actually play a big role in enabling SMEs. I think, we have seen creation of even ministries that basically focus on SMEs, that focus on trade, and that creates at least a platform that enables the right policies to be put in place. Then, of course, there are associations as well that also partner with the private sector and government. You'll find you have Kenya Association of Manufacturers, Kenya National Chamber of Commerce. All these associations also help in terms of ensuring that the voice of the private sector or the SMEs is, being brought to the table when policies are being set apart. And as a bank, we play a big role as well in terms of partnering with the associations, partnering with government, and ensuring that the policies, the frameworks, as aspects around, say, tax, as an example, are well factored in to enable these SMEs to succeed. So there's a lot more collaboration we've seen, and the SME sector, as an example, in Kenya is also, anchored on the Vision 2030. So it's quite critical to the government, and the government has done a lot to be able to enable the SMEs to succeed and to thrive.
Would you know what the SME saturation in the country is at the moment? Because we've come from the point you say, okay, well, I could be selling tomatoes.
Yes,
I'm in business, so I form part of that number. But what are we looking at? If you did out of 100% SMEs to those who are in formal employment, which outweighs the other?
Yeah. So in terms of registered entities, obviously SMEs are the majority. So we talk about, I think the data shows that there are 7 million businesses in Kenya, but about 1.5 are registered. So the one of selling tomatoes would fall in the category of unregistered SMEs. Then the ones that are registered are about 1.5 million. And this basically constitute about 80 to 90% of registered businesses in the economy. Now, if you go back again to the creation of employment, again, 90% of the jobs in Kenya today are, especially new jobs, are being offered by SMEs. So it's quite significant, and from a contribution to the GDP as well, it's anything between 40 to 60% of the country's GDP is basically driven by the SMEs. So it's quite material and important.
For any SME, but pretty much any business out here, one thing that is critical is how am I funding my business? How, even if it's from my pocket, if I want to scale higher, there is need for finding alternative means of funding business. And this would come into now financing, and with this, I need to partner with someone who believes in my dream, with someone who looks at me and says, and then you need to fix this for you to end up here. Someone who understands the mechanics that will make me thrive. And here enters a Stanbic. And I have consumed information from individuals. I've seen this guy who goes across different countries in the continent, just talking about what SMEs are doing in different countries in the continent. And this speaks to a bank that understands the power of SMEs. So today, Aseto, I want to come in, scale my business to grow further. Which are some of the things that you look into to ensure that even as you're partnering with me as my financier, that I am as well putting in the work to ensure that we both succeed?
Great. So it's a straightforward question, but a difficult question at the same time. Because when you look at which SMEs will thrive, the question is, first and foremost, what is that SME doing, and why did they set up the SME? And the most critical is that when you set up a business, and here I'll talk about business, not necessarily SMEs. When you set up a business, you need to be solving a problem, or you need to be taking advantage of an opportunity that has presented itself in an economy. So if you're solving a problem, or if you've taken advantage of an opportunity, your business is likely to actually thrive and do well. So I'll give an example. If, say, for instance, we've seen in this country, we're talking about maybe a population of 57 million people, and majority of these are young people below the age of 20. That creates a huge opportunity for a business. So if you come to me and say, I'm actually looking to set up a school, I know for sure that that school, there's huge potential for that school, because we are talking about 60% of our population are, people below the age of 20. Education is a basic need that all these children have to go through. So that business then has longevity. And when we are looking to finance businesses, we start from understanding the purpose of that organization and whether the business that they're investing in will actually last. So that when I give you a facility of, say, 5 years, I need to be sure that in 5 years your business will still be in existence. So that's basically the fundamental. Then, of course, there are other factors that come in. Who is running that enterprise? Have you brought in skilled people to actually run that enterprise? Do you have the right systems, the right policies to be able to establish that particular business? Do you have the right HR, the policies of how you bring in employees? Are these people well contracted? How do you manage your finances? Do you have somebody who is keeping your books of records? So those become things that basically are a must that we must look at. So for SMEs, obviously, for us to be able to extend credit, the first thing we look at is the financials. We look at the financial performance, ensure that you have the ability to actually generate cash that will be able to service the debt. But that said, there are SMEs that are still at an infancy. And it's important for us as financial institutions to also support those institutions. And we do offer different solutions for those businesses that are still either startups or they're into the first or second year. And what then we do as a bank, we bring in partners who have a mechanism of being able to fund startups, as an example. So we work very closely with your venture capitalists. We work with private equity funds. We work with DFIs as well that also are willing to basically support SMEs that are at an infancy. So when you come to Stanbic, you're not necessarily coming to Stanbic for the Stanbic specifically to come from Stanbic, but we'll ensure that you get the right solution that addresses the need that you have. And we basically work very closely with partners. Obviously, being the largest bank on the continent, we do have very strong partnerships with other partners that come in to support enterprises that are at different levels of growth and development.
So at the very minimum,
yes,
what for somebody who's walking through the doors must we have? Because it's, just based on what you're saying, Wanja, it's not the tomato seller who's selling 20 kgs of tomatoes in a day, or if that's walking through the doors. So what at the very minimum do people need to have when they're saying, okay, let's have a conversation? Because we do know that the largest challenge or the largest obstacle towards successful business is funding. It's capital.
Yes, it's capital.
We know this. So at the very minimum, what must I have walking through the doors to say, okay, let's see if Stanbic wants to have a conversation with me today about, moving my business from this point to the next?
So I'd say as a minimum, what we need first is, I would say, records. Let me put it, records. Because sometimes when we say we want financial statements, we know that SMEs, more often than not, don't produce those financial statements. So we want to see what is your trading history. And that trading history can come in the form of either formally, prepared books that have been formally prepared in the form of financial statements, or even your own bank statements, or statements even, say, from your M-Pesa transactions. And based on that, we then are able to sort of see, what is your trading record, and based on your trading record and what then you want to basically finance, we then have a conversation. So the biggest asset we have as a bank is actually the relationship management team, and we call this the trusted advisors. So working with your advisor, they are able then to be able to get a lot more from you, to understand your business, to understand your business aspirations, to understand what you want to do with the money that you want to take from us. And then from there, they're able to give you the right advice. Because sometimes you find that a client will come to you and they think they actually need a loan, but probably it's not a loan they need. It's maybe something else that they need. So that engagement becomes so critical for that enterprise to be able then to see whether what you think you require is really what you need to be able to actually propel your business to the next level. In those conversations, we also look at, ensuring that we give you the right solution. Again, you'll find a customer will come and they want a loan, but maybe they actually say supplying stationery, say to a government entity. They probably don't need to actually come and take a loan from you. They probably need to come and give you the contract, that award that they were given. And on the back of that contract, we can actually be able to finance that particular order that they have without necessarily really having to come to take a loan. So it's so important that the client has that engagement, so that you make sure that the facility or the solution that you take is actually the right solution. Because sometimes you can go for very expensive financing structures that are not even necessary. And we see this all the time, where customers will even go and get loans from Shylocks. A Shylock, you just go in, put in maybe a logbook or something, and you come out with the money. But that financing is so expensive. It is not the right financing structure, but you could have come to the bank with an invoice and actually walked out with a facility, because we can finance that invoice.
But is that guaranteed though? And I think it is because of the lack of surety about whether, if I do walk in, that will I come out with my invoice having been financed.
Yes.
You see, because if you... Okay, so I guess the question then is around surety.
Yeah.
That what kind of surety then is available for folks who are coming in and we want to have a conversation? That because of the lack of that, that's what leads them to make a desperate decision later.
I'd say, actually what we're doing today is really what is required. Because a lot of the times is that the information is not readily available, is not well known. So even for us as banks, we need to do a lot to make customers aware of what they can get from banks. Because I must say, banks have come a long way, and they do have very compelling solutions. They have very competitively priced solutions. And yes, you can actually walk into the bank and walk out with financing by walking in with an invoice. But you find more often than not, customers don't know that. So the banks need to do a lot of advocacy for customers to be able to know what they can get from banks, because banks have basically evolved over the years and have basically come up with solutions that specifically target SMEs, which actually address the challenges that SMEs have. As I said, not all SMEs have financials. So banks have evolved, and we're saying now, you don't need to come with audited financial statements. I can look at your M-Pesa statements, and based on your M-Pesa statements, I can extend credit to you. So that may not be well known, and that's why we basically are doing something, a show like this, to be able to create that awareness, so that customers then are well aware of what they can and what they cannot get from banks.
You've mentioned presence of working with partnerships, with partners who are able to push the agenda, as well as having relationship advisors. And it's something that is usually not spoken about a lot, but it's very critical in ensuring that, first of all, these entrepreneurs who's walked in gets the correct information, gets the best facility, and gets the best advice for them to be able to make decisions, even as an individual. And with that, now you look at the partners that you're working with. You might be working with trust funds. You're working with others who are able to hold the hands of these entrepreneurs for them to be able to succeed. Now you couple that together with your relationship advisors who are then able to direct them to either it is your partners or direct them to now internally for them to get these facilities. How has that been a game changer for these enterprises to succeed? What have you seen? Which some of the success stories that you've seen, and perhaps something that needs to be pushed even more?
Yeah, I'll give you an example of one situation such as that. I mean, we know that during COVID, SMEs were hit quite hard, and most of these SMEs actually were unable to reopen because their businesses were impacted by the lockdowns and all that. As a bank, Stanbic, we partnered with partners who were able to provide capital that we could inject to these SMEs. So we extended catalytic funding to SMEs in partnership with some of the DFIs. These facilities were zero interest. They were basically, the tenure of the facilities was slightly longer, and we were able to inject capital to these SMEs that were impacted to enable them to get back their businesses back on track. And I'll give you, and going back to the question you asked earlier around partnerships with government, this initiative, we ran it in partnership with government. We were working with counties. Counties have records of all the registered businesses in the counties. And they were able to tell which businesses have not been paying the rates over a period of time. So if you're not paying rates or your levies, your market levies, it means your business shut down. So they gave us that list, and using the list of those businesses that were impacted, again, we were able to source capital to inject into these businesses, and a number of those businesses were able to pick up. So again, it's looking at where the problem is and looking for the right solution to address the problem. But I think for me, a classic example would be how we basically supported enterprises during COVID, post-COVID, to enable these businesses to get back on track by extending credit that was, zero interest, and a lot more flexible to enable these businesses to be able to get their business back on track.
Do you think there's enough to go around for folks who are thinking, at this point? I think of other jurisdictions whereby the entrepreneurial spirit has been pushed from government. That for them to understand that, look, in order for us to have an economy that we can run, we need to push entrepreneurship, and that means we provide a conducive environment. You've talked about the fact that working with government to make some of these things happen. But is society entrepreneurial to the point whereby you say, okay, you know what, the thing is already there, all we have to do is foster it and then push it? Is there, as you think about that, is there then enough to go round for everybody who says, I want to get into this, I want to start it and see how I can push it? I mean, because think about it, the Googles, the Nikes of this world, those are entrepreneurs who started businesses and then pushed to the point whereby they command global attention because of the foundations that they started with. Do we have that?
I would say the entrepreneurial spirit in Kenya, I would say, exists. But obviously there's still room for improvement, I would say. And here I'll just basically give you my own personal observation. What do you look at entrepreneurs? As I said, it's either you're solving a problem or you're taking advantage of an opportunity. But there's an entrepreneurial spirit, and I'll put it in quotes, that exists in Kenya. Just because your next door neighbor has set up a shop that is selling tomatoes, you also feel that you need to set one up. And before you know it, in 3 months, there are 20 shops that are doing the same thing. So I wouldn't call that entrepreneurship. So you need to basically know what problem are you solving, or what opportunity are you taking advantage of, and who are you basically serving, and not just setting up a business. And you find there's a lot of that, and that's why you probably will find that indigenous businesses in Kenya, very few of them are going beyond first generation. Then the other entrepreneurial spirit that we find in the country is, again, one of where we're not building enterprises. It's one where we are cutting deals. And I think for me, that's something that, again, isn't sustainable. So I have a tender here. We call them tenderpreneurs. I don't know whether that tenderpreneurship is entrepreneurship. So again, if you want to set up an enterprise, it has to be founded on purpose. Exactly why do you think it's important, to actually set up this enterprise? And if you do that, then likely that business will basically transcend to the next generation and will actually go over many hurdles that we find. And when you observe and look at some of the businesses that have done well, whether it's family-owned businesses or enterprises that have been set and founded that focus on purpose have a much bigger chance of actually doing well. Because for them, it's not about profit. They're not looking for profit. Because I always say, if you make the profit or you make a big deal and you make the money, it's easy to shut down that business and say, you know what, I'm done. But if your business is not about profit only, then you find that you will be compelled to continuously look at innovating, looking at trends to make sure that business is able to go through certain challenges that may be that the businesses could potentially be facing. So it's that piece for me that I would say isn't there enough in the country, but the entrepreneurship spirit is there. The question you asked around, is there enough to go around? I would say there's still room for more. But we find that there are very many partners out there that are looking at Sub-Saharan Africa as an opportunity to come and support these enterprises. But again, we need to be able to be looking at building strong enterprises for these people to feel compelled to come in and work with the financial institutions, with the governments, and to support these enterprises to continue to grow.
What are some of the emerging opportunities for enterprises that they can tap into for growth?
I would say, I think I gave an example of one as an example. The young population that we see in Kenya or on the continent, where you're saying 60% of the population are people below the age of 20. So that creates opportunities for education, opportunities for, anyone who is in agro-processing. All these people have to feed. All these children have to eat. So that's a big opportunity for enterprises. Anyone who is looking to set up an enterprise, to see how you tap into that young population. The second one as well, we find Kenya, based on where Kenya is located, we are basically, have access to the port. We are the gateway to East Africa and the wider Eastern Africa, including actually Central Africa. So again, that creates huge opportunity for businesses that are in logistics, warehousing, transport. So again, you can take advantage of the geographical location of Kenya to take advantage of those opportunities that emerge. We've seen huge opportunities as well around infrastructure. We're building roads, we are building railways, we are building ports, we are building seaports, airports. Again, if you're an entrepreneur, say in construction, that creates huge opportunity as well for you, because a lot of these contractors who are coming in to put the large infrastructure also require subcontractors. So there's a lot of opportunities that we see. Again, the country is also looking at becoming more industrialized. We talk about being largely being agricultural, but focusing on primary agriculture. There's huge opportunity to actually do value addition and get into, processing a lot of, the agricultural produce that we see. I sometimes get surprised at, you buy like canned food from the supermarket and you see the food is from Singapore. And you're asking, these are peas. Why are we getting canned peas from Singapore? Yet there are peas that are being grown in Nyandarua, and those peas more often than not actually don't even get to the markets because they get spoiled, because we don't even have storage facilities. So it's those sort of things that we need to sort of get more and more entrepreneurs looking at those opportunities and actually seeing how we can actually take advantage of what we have as a country. Tea, we produce tea. That tea goes, to be processed out. Coffee, then it comes back and we buy it at 10 times the price. So again, how do we get more and more people looking at actually adding value to the agricultural produce that we produce in this country that then gets exported and then comes back as processed.
How do we get more people to pay attention to that? I heard a fantastic story of a young woman who, in Baringo County, because during mango season, the mangoes are coming out of Baringo as well, and she doesn't even focus on the fruit. She focuses on the ones that fall. She focuses on the overripe, the ones that are discarded essentially, and she takes those and she does pulp and she does dried fruit with, which she then exports from the waste, supposed waste. But she's been supported, interestingly enough, she's been supported, by an external party. So I think about that, and I think about Stanbic and just the conversations that you're having now, and that how do we then get more people? You just talked about peas, and I think it's a phenomenal story, because how many of the canned foods on our shelves are actually Kenyan product, but the product is available in Kenya.
Exactly, yeah.
So to make that connection seems like Stanbic would be a fantastic connector of these realities. That how would Stanbic then connect the opportunity with the individual or the business and say, guys, look, this is so Stanbic can give the money for sure,
yes,
but is Stanbic also a connector to the opportunities that lie available, like the ones you've just said? Because it blows my mind that there are peas all over the place. And we go to markets and we see them even being thrown away. They become waste that animals eat. But we're importing them and putting them on the shelves. I mean, it's ridiculous almost.
Yeah.
So I mean, how do you connect those opportunities with the realities?
Yeah. So I'd say as Stanbic, we go beyond financing, and we actually look at how we connect customers to the opportunity. We do a lot of those engagements. We also create opportunities as well for market access, because sometimes why people will not go the extra mile is a question of where am I selling this produce. After I do this, then where does it go? So we go beyond just providing the financing. I'll give an example. We've worked very closely with us. We do have a Stanbic Foundation, and the Stanbic Foundation does exactly what you described, where we look at some of these enterprises, because again, going back to where some of these ventures would be at, some of them are basically startups. So we actually provide them with funding that enables them to actually do that value addition. We've done that. We've supported people again, in doing mangoes. Some client that we got in Kibwezi, we've had customers we've given funding where they do tomatoes, convert that into a pulp and make tomato sauce or tomato paste. And a lot of this also means there's a bit of skilling that we also offer, because you may see the opportunity, but you may not have the knowledge. And we work again with partners to actually be able to educate and give these people the skills to be able to acquire the skills. Because sometimes you also need that skill to be able to get into manufacturing. It's not always that because you are selling tomatoes, you can turn around and be a successful manufacturer.
Right.
So we work again with our clients to enable them to, give them that capacity to be able to know what skills they need to have to be able to get into processing, as an example. And again, from there, we also create for them opportunities as well to be able to sell that produce. There's a lot to be done. And I think many more partners, including government, is playing that role as well of just enabling industries and more so enabling, guys to get into value addition. And it's a core pillar as well that the government is looking to drive as well.
You earlier mentioned in terms of need for advocacy, to know what banks have to offer, because here now we were just learning more in terms of it's not just about coming in to give you access to financing, but it's a question of going even further and helping you get opening markets for you, letting us know after this is where you head to, also just in terms of tapping into manufacturing. It is in this country where when it rains a lot, you find we have so much milk and it is poured on the streets,
Yes.
And here we have now a bank that is going to the people, having discussions to see how we can tap onto these opportunities that do exist. Because you look at the government and what it's pushing is we need to get to developed status.
Yes,
but while at that, manufacturing then becomes part of that process. So in terms of just you've gone to different places, what has been the response from those that you're targeting, from entrepreneurs that do exist out there who need this information, have never known that this information exists, but now do have it?
We actually, you'd be amazed at how much people are thirsty for knowledge, and where we've been able to engage these sort of enterprises. And as I said, we work very closely with partners, including the counties, because, as I said, the area, how you get to know where the enterprises are, you need to tap into the government agencies. And we've had forums where we bring in the businesses in certain areas, like Nakuru County, bring in all the businesses that are maybe focusing on a certain segment, say agriculture, and you engage them and give them a bit of just capacity building on how to run an enterprise, how to manage finances, how to do value addition, how you can add value to your business and actually increase your profitability by doing more. And that bit ends up being so important. And it's something that I would say isn't being done enough. So a lot of these enterprises, you find that when you offer them the knowledge, then the question then after that is, after you've offered them the knowledge, then how do you come in to enable them? So as we said, how do you provide the right financing structure for them? How do you enable them to be able to actually scale without necessarily having to invest in some of those structures? And I'll go back again to the case of dairy. Dairy, you find that in some instances, will probably not work with the farmers, individual farmers. We'll work with a cooperative. And we'll finance that cooperative and give them a facility to be able to put a cooling plant. That cooling plant becomes a big enabler to the farmers in that region, because now these farmers can produce the milk, bring it to the buying center, but there's an infrastructure that is so critical to ensure that milk doesn't spoil. And the outcome of that is that then they're able to get full value for the milk that they produce, because that milk will not get spoiled. So the instances where you need to bring in collective solutions to be able to solve for maybe a certain region or a certain subsector. Potatoes, as an example, we have had situations where we are looking at how do we fund storage facilities, because again, potatoes spoil very, very quickly. But if you fund that infrastructure, either to maybe you finance a cooperative or the group, a working group that basically is in that region, again, you're able to create value for the farmers in that particular region. So I would say there isn't as one solution that fits all businesses. You'd have to look at different businesses, different segments, different sectors, different regions, understand the pain points that are in that area, and then provide the right solutions. And that's what as Stanbic we do. So if you come and ask me, do you have a solution for entrepreneurs? I'll tell you no. I'll tell you no, because I need to be able to see what's the pain point, what's the problem at that place, and then how do I solve that problem. And it means coming up with bespoke solutions for different customers, and not necessarily one solution that fits all. Yeah,
that's interesting, because then we can be looking essentially, Wanja, at solutions. So you say, in fact, what we do have is that you can connect funds to problems.
Yes.
And essentially you're providing solutions for society through the assistance that you're giving as Stanbic.
Yes,
Yeah.
precisely.
What do you see, I mean, really quickly, as we wrap this up, as the future of enterprises and entrepreneurship in Kenya? What do you see? You know how folks can forecast and say, well, the future looks bright or bleak. What does it look like?
I think the future has to be bright. I don't think we have a choice. We don't have a choice because as I said, these enterprises are the ones that are driving the backbone of the economy. And if we don't drive the establishment of these enterprises, then it means unemployment. It means lack of opportunities for young people. And it means we'll probably not get your basic foods or supplies.
Right.
So we have no choice but to actually look at the challenges that these enterprises are facing and see how we partner to actually help them to actually thrive. So and also, I think the other thing also that I'd almost want to also highlight is that we're also seeing a lot of this young population that we have. More often than not, they're actually not also looking to go into formal employment. Again, the gig economy is a big opportunity. And I don't know whether many of us are focusing a lot on how we support these young entrepreneurs and the businesses that are now emerging. Most of these businesses are emerging, they're digital businesses. They are more focusing on tech and solutions around technology. Again, that wave is, it's here with us. We need to find a way of actually supporting that. So the future of enterprises in Kenya is bright.
Has to be bright.
It has to be bright, and we have to actually see how we make it work. And I think the other thing also that we're saying is that we don't want us only to just build small enterprises. The idea is actually to get these enterprises to actually become larger enterprises. As I said, a lot of businesses that will do that are the SMEs of today. So the question is, what is the private sector doing? What is the government doing? What are we doing as banks to actually support these enterprises so that they can become large enterprises that will basically go beyond the borders of this country? We know that the large family-owned businesses you find your Mars, your BMW, these are family-owned businesses. Why can't we have enough of those coming from Kenya and actually providing solutions across the continent?
Global solutions, for sure. Well, and it's conversations like this that start to spur the thinking in minds of many as we do. So we want to thank you very much for being here with us this morning and sharing a lot of these insights necessary for us to have those. Florence Wanja is the head East Africa Business and Commercial Banking with Stanbic. Thank you for being here with us this morning and for starting off the Situation Room in the month of December with us. More conversations continue. It's 10:02. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The latest news from around the world. 94.4 Spice FM.
This is the news wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. A total of 69 inmates have been released from Garissa Medium Prison to serve the remainder of their sentences through community service in a nationwide push by judiciary to ease congestion in correctional facilities. The release exercise was led by Kitui High Court